Thank goodness. Welcome to the Hex Late Show. It's 43 OG with you here on a Tuesday evening in Australia. It's been a wonderful week in crypto, an exciting week in crypto as always. I've got the guys out the back, but I've got a special guest tonight who I'm going to bring up immediately.
You going out there, brother? YouTubes? Hey, how you going? Hey,
mate. How are you?
Good to see you. What's been going on?
Not much, man. Not much. We've just been doing the same old thing we always do every week. Is we join.
Is Hex still 100% uptime? Is it still triple audit security? Is it still the best value proposition on the market in crypto? Because I haven't been looking at it because it's been.
I can speak to the first two. I can speak to the first two for sure. It's definitely 100% uptime. The Hex contract is definitely, has definitely been up 100%
I had to
of the
sell
time.
Everything.
Hey, Mango Junkie just said your connection is 100% perfect. 100% perfect.
100% perfect.
It wasn't perfect in the green room beforehand, but I don't know what you've done unrect. I don't know if you threw up another antenna or something, but yeah, everything's clear and I can hear every word you're saying. Let me bring up the other guys. I can hear you perfectly, mate. And more importantly, Mango Junkie can hear you. Shout out to everyone in the chat.
Oh, the Mango Junkie's
back. Guys, how's it going?
I'm back.
Throw some likes and subscribes our way, please. We really appreciate all the likes and subscribes. We are streaming on the Discourse channel.
Hear this stuff.
Let me bring up the other guys. What's going on, fellas? Tangent.
Hey, going?
Sup, boys?
How lovely is it to have my original partner, Unwrecked, here?
We haven't seen you for a long while, mate.
Something stupid.
We haven't seen you for a long while. You've been all I've seen is random pictures of electric scooters and dragon eskies behind them or something.
Nah, none of that. I've just been crying into my tears of Cocoa Pops over the Hex price.
You know what everyone in the chat's hanging out for? They're hanging out for like some random lady, like just walk around in their undies. That's what they're waiting for. You've learnt your lesson.
Down there. I was inconsolable.
Who was on stream when that happened? Were you on stream, Jexa? Were you on stream when that was going on?
When someone was walking around butt naked or half naked?
I'm pretty sure I was on one of them. It's happened multiple times.
Yeah, right? it's happened a few times.
I'm sorry to introduce that to all the crypto nerds, but yeah.
Don't be sorry. That's what
Oh,
That's what
I
gets-
know some people like it.
No, that's
people
what
do that.
gets. I've noticed. This is my observation of the Hex community. When there's drama in the community, there's only one thing that can pull us out of the depths of that drama, and that's when there's like, gratuitous nudity. Like when that's going on, then like everyone just gets distracted and focuses on that, and I think that's a good thing. I think we need more of that. So, anyone out there?
The alternative is headless chickens running around, which is what it seems like at the moment. All the different communities go carrying on.
The drama is unbearable for me. I'm allergic to drama. I'm allergic to it. I know people like it. You tend to gravitate towards it, but I'm like deep down, I'm allergic to it. And I would prefer to see a nice rack. That's what I'd prefer.
Can you just mute my mic there, 43, so I can, because I think that's echoes coming from mine because I don't have a proper microphone.
Yep. Okay.
Sorry, mate. That's all.
So we're here again this week.
We are.
What are we talking about? The people in the chat want to know what the hell we're going to talk about this week. What are we talking about, guys?
We can talk about crazy charts.
What crazy chart? Can we talk a little bit about like crazy legacy / crypto like founders just like cruising around in the Bahamas, like not needing to account for, millions.
You want the latest rumor that I heard? I don't. This is just a rumor. I'm not sure if it's true or not. Apparently, Mr. and Mrs. Bankman-Fried. The parents spent about 200. It was either 170 or 200 mil on a house in the Bahamas.
It was 121 million on 19 properties.
I'm gonna smash those cunts.
What? I just can't imagine where they got that from.
In Bahamas, they bought 19 properties in the Bahamas.
I just can't imagine how good it's going to feel when I burn.
I don't know. I don't know. We don't have a source for that. Yeah, we don't have a source.
That is pure rumor at this point.
It's a rumor.
And I'm joking, obviously, officially. Oh man, that infuriates me. That like they've stolen all these people's money and wrecked our industry, and then they're gonna go and buy like a dream home.
19 of them.
Nah, I can't let that happen.
19 of them. 19 of them.
Yeah, and
not cool, guys.
Do you reckon they'll get in any strife over that?
Bro, they donated too much money to the Democrat Party. I don't know if I don't know how things work in the US, but I feel like when you donate lots of money to political parties, you're too much of a valuable resource.
But the messed up thing is that the money that he donated was stolen from crypto users. So he was able to gain that favor with stolen funds. So anyone can do that if they are unscrupulous.
Oh yeah. We're not.
And then there's the whole Ukraine. There's the whole Ukraine thing as well. Did you hear about that?
Oh yeah.
By the way, we're sort of like to go over the crypto landscape on this channel. We like to focus on DeFi and the things that are not DeFi, such as FTX. But we are like, when I say we're sort of like a news channel, we're as reliable as something like CNN. Okay. So
we research as much as they do.
I would say our shit's way more legit than CNN. We might do the same amount of research as them, i.e. none, but at least we're not intending to deceive. We're doing our best to be honest and accurate, which is like infinite X better than what they're doing.
I was having this conversation with my wife the other night, and Twitter, for all its faults, it's like a stream of unfiltered opinions / facts and
stream of
information.
consciousness.
Yeah, that you've got to wage your way through, because it is this big unfiltered mess. But within there, from looking at both sides and eventually getting facts presented, you end up with what I think is really what's going on, or a better version of the truth of what's going on.
This is why freedom of speech is so important.
Yeah. And so I find I waste time on there, but I think I do get value. Like, I'd rather spend an hour on Twitter than 5 minutes watching the mainstream media news presented to you each night, which is a really condensed, heavily filtered, heavily biased look on things. And I can't remember who said this the other day. We know we're in the crypto space, and we know what's going on with SBF and FTX, and we know all the underhanded shit that's unfolding. Yet what's getting presented by New York Times, Washington Post, all those guys, is a completely skewed version of what reality is. But if you're not in this space, you wouldn't know that that's not the truth. So then you've got to ask yourself. Then you've got to ask yourself, okay, so all these other things that are happening around the world that we don't know intimately, but we get the facts presented by the media, well, probably they're so far from the truth as well. And I know that's a naive thing to say, like, everyone knows that, but I think what I'm trying to demonstrate here is how far off base that news that you're getting presented can be.
Well, I mean, how many media I mean, let's look at this in the context of the last 2 or 3 years and what has gone on as far as what was presented to us in the mainstream news and what we should have been doing, like with our bodies and all of that sort of stuff. I don't want to go into details. I'm sure all of you know exactly what I'm talking about. So that was very they were presenting one narrative, right? And there were a couple there were a couple of outlets that were presenting other narratives, but they were getting shut down. But the main narrative was getting presented. And after a couple of years, we sort of have seen, things come out, that have gone against what that narrative was. So it makes you skeptical of these media outlets. So when I say we're as reliable as CNN, maybe we're more reliable. Tangent. Maybe we are more reliable
because we're definitely less filtered,
and we don't have an agenda.
I don't know. Everyone's got some sort of agenda or bias, don't they?
I guess perhaps bias, yeah. But
I have an agenda. I do. I have an agenda. Can I tell you my agenda quickly? I think, and I hope this doesn't get me in trouble, but I think governments around the world, or central banks more specifically, have demonstrated their inability to manage like currency and money. That's my perspective, right? Just my opinion. And I think that decentralized finance can help everyone in the world. That's what I reckon. I reckon decentralized finance, peer-to-peer transactions are a force for good in the world. I think that can help people in a way that, having your bank account closed by a private company like a bank is not going to help people. So being able to be your own bank, I think is a great step forward for the vast majority of people around the world. So that's my agenda.
I would agree.
I think we're all pretty much on the same page all of us that get on this channel and stream, we're all pretty much of the same opinion from a a security aspect, a beliefs in terms of what we think freedom should be and privacy should look like. I think that's why we keep coming back here every week.
It's pretty important, the anonymity, isn't it? And just as you say, being your own bank and you and the code, no middlemen, you know. And I mean, what a great product, what a performance Hex has had. You know, even though we're down, 95, we've been wrecked. I've been wrecked all year. I'm still, you know, I've had to, and as I say, the T shares are going to get more and more harder to obtain and more valuable, more scarce. So, no, I don't know. I've had to just sort of shut it all. I've had to shut it all down because it's just I can't look at it. You know, I don't want to look at it anymore because it just brings me down.
But that's not.
Is this your first bear market, Unwrecked? Is this the first bear market you've ever been in?
Oh yeah, well it is actually, believe it or not, because I mean I've done different sort of like tried to invest in different things over the course of many years, but obviously Hex has been the one that's been a kind of home run in a sense. But for me, but everyone's different, and you got to do your own research. You got to look at what's best for you and how to manage your investment. But I just say usually a dollar cost averaging strategy is the way to get in, and you've got to just keep buying until like you did in the 2017, 2018, 43. You bought those. You just basically bought Bitcoin all the way down to the bottom, and that just actually scaled your average cost price across the, you know, your average entry price across the.
Can I just back Unwrecked on this? That I've been through multiple. Oh wait, is my camera off? Whoops, sorry about that. Can I just back Unwrecked that I've been through multiple bull bear cycles, and this has been like soul crushing, like on specifically to do with the Hex price chart. So I don't think this is a consequence of people being new to crypto of how devastating this has been.
Do you think this bear market has been more brutal than the last one?
Like for me personally, yes, because of Hex, because I had so much hope in Hex. Like, so this is not to do with like price or like my financial situation or anything to do with that. It was just like that one difference makes it incomparable. Like no other previous cycle have I believed so strongly in something that has disappointed me so greatly. So it's not really comparable. So I guess in that respect, I'm kind of like contradicting myself, saying like, oh, I've got all this experience of multiple bull bear cycles, but then giving you the reason why this one's so different for me personally. But it's obviously different for everyone.
Wouldn't you say that as far as Bitcoin and Ethereum goes, there was this narrative that was in the crypto ecosystem that, you know, previous to this bear market, that, you know, remember that, like that narrative that they used to see on Twitter or on, you know, wherever, if you bought like crypto, you were never down after 4 years. Like that's been smashed. Yeah, that narrative that you can't be down with crypto after 4 years has been absolutely smashed. Now, as it happens, remember, like, you know, in relation to Hex, right? In relation to Hex, Hex has only existed for 3 years. But as far as like Bitcoin goes, or Ethereum, like I'm not even that. I think Ethereum as well.
The problem with that statement / model is it was based on 3 data points. It had only been through like 3 cycles, and they were all so different in terms of how fast the space was growing. So
To have
so
there wasn't enough data.
Not enough data. You're basing a model on 3 data points, and then
But that model was based on
been broken in the fact that it had never been broken in the past. It's like flipping a coin 3 times, getting head 3 times, and being like, it's going to be heads forever. Like, no, it's not. Like, as in,
I guess what the Bitcoiners used to say is they used to base that narrative on. They used to base that narrative from memory. They used to base that narrative on the fact that there was a halvening every 4 years.
Yeah.
But now that those coins that are being introduced, that inflation in the system is getting to a point where it's quite low. is that halvening in the Bitcoin ecosystem? Do you guys reckon that halvening is going to have less of an effect as we
like
move?
less significance. Yeah.
It's less significance as we move forward.
By very much by its design, it should have less impact.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would want that halving to take the volatility out as it goes, because that's pretty much its design intention. As it matures, you're releasing less and less onto the market. Well, actually, are you releasing? Yeah, you are releasing less onto the market. Yeah.
Disinflationary rate of inflation, decreasing rate of inflation.
Yeah.
I just want to quickly clarify that my analogy was not like, as in, obviously with a coin flip, it's 50-50. And I'm not saying that there was a statistical certainty of 50-50 chance with that thing. I was just highlighting that how 3 data points is absolutely tiny, and that you can, but you are right. There was reasoning behind it that was more than just chance, which was that whole halvening theory. I think we've had a disproportionately higher number of black swans this cycle as well.
I think what we've had this cycle is a disproportionate number of people applying leverage at scale. So before we've had retail investors who can only deploy a certain amount of capital. This time we've had semi-institutional, or we've definitely had corporations come in that have access to larger pools of capital and had people coming in and throwing money in behind them, traditional VCs and other institutions, and applying real like legacy finance techniques into an already highly volatile asset class, and levering it up to crazy amounts, and then all borrowing incestuously from each other and levering it up more between each other. It was crazy. Like they're all linked because the industry's small, so they've all been borrowing off of each other without requiring the security underneath it. It's just been insane the way they've done it.
Yo, prize for dumbest person in crypto is Kevin O'Leary for sure. He had the opportunity to tell everyone, look, I got fooled just like the rest of you. Easily done. This guy's a piece of shit. Instead, he decided to back him and be like, nah, smart dude, I'd invest him in again. Like, but reputation binned. You would invest someone proven to be a scammer, and you just admitted that you'll invest in them again. You fucking dumbass. What an absolute retard. So game over for him. Game over for his rep. And shit.
So did you see? Anyone see the tweet, the BitBoy tweet about like him saying something along the lines of Kevin O'Leary was being pressured by people over threats of physical violence, and
to go which way? To back it or to not back it?
To not say anything
negative.
Not say anything negative. All right. Yeah, I guess.
Which I think he refuted. He refuted in a reply tweet.
So he was paid by FTX, but was he also an investor? I think he was an investor as well, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yep. So
according to him, yes.
So they should get SBF on Shark Tank, yeah.
So pitch a recovery plan.
Nice one, Ted DeFi. I saw that comment in the chat.
He's like, he comes in and leads with like, he's like, all right, I'm gonna need $10 billion of your money. I committed fraud, but I've got this idea. It's called fucking proof of fraud backed by fucking hell.
So why do we like harp on about this sort of stuff in crypto? Because in reality, things like FTX is not really crypto. It's the point where crypto interacts with legacy. And when we talk about cryptocurrencies and DeFi, we're talking about things that we're talking about digital assets that you hold the private keys to yourself, right? And you're not trusting a third party with those assets. That's what we're talking about when we talk about crypto. And I think that's really important for us to always. Oh, by the way, did anyone here invest in Terra Luna, no, not invest, shill Terra Luna, FTX, Almeida, Celsius,
Voyager,
BlockFi.
Nope.
Did anyone here shill any of that stuff ever?
Nope. No.
Okay, so that puts us in the 0.1%. 0.1% of people who actually stream. We never actually told people to go put their money in these middleman legacy finance companies that pretend to be crypto. That pretend to be
my favorite video over the last at least a month in crypto is Pomp, where his girlfriend's trying to start talking and he's just coked up out of his eyeballs and he's like, BlockFi, rocket ship, get on board.
Allegedly coked up.
I just play it on loop. Allegedly coked out of his fucking eyeballs. BlockFi, rocket ship. I literally play that video on loop and just laugh my fucking ass off. It is so funny. These influencers are fucked,
Can we get that video? Can we get that video?
Oh shit!
I'm
I'll
sure
try and find it while we keep talking. But man, disappointing shit.
But you know what the other big thing for me this cycle was, which I didn't get sucked into, was watching a lot of other chains launch that were VC backed, because all of those are pretty much screwed now. So obviously there was Solana in there, heavily tied into the FTX debacle, but things like Mina, you guys keep tabs on those sorts of ones. So
haven't heard of
heavily promoted by Three Arrows Capital, and all those guys were in on it as well. Had the special exclusion round where only the VCs and all that could get in it, and then it goes out to pre-sale, public sale, and all that sort of garbage. So by the time it gets to, you can buy some tokens, and they gatekeep that so that make it like a scarcity thing. But you've got all these guys all lined up behind you that have all come in early, just sitting there waiting to push the sell button on your head. And
doing the good nonsense, harder, isn't it?
What's that, mate?
Doing the good, honest thing is sometimes harder. It's harder it's harder up there, and cop the ridicule and things like this about particular, like we talk about, and you've got to be cop some heat from everywhere. Everyone wants to be critical of it and flag it off and do whatever. What are your guys' thoughts on where Richard Hart's at with his PulseChain and that? What do you think? It's in his hand.
Just before you launch into that, what you just said is the reason why I still have respect for Bitcoin maxis, because there's a demonstration there, and Hex maxis, because there's a demonstration there that you're sacrificing this idea that you're just going to launch your own shit and become like instantly rich and try and basically scam people into like giving you all their fucking economic energy. So that's one thing that Bitcoin maxis and Hex maxis have in common, that it's like you're not trying to fucking like be like, get my coin. My coin's the new shit. Like, it is the best shit. And you know what I mean? Like there's a level of respect you have to give, because let's be honest, in crypto, it is easy as fuck to get rich if you launch your own shit. Like that is like the fastest way to get rich, is to just fucking launch a scam coin. Like it's easy. So it's like it takes fucking
ethical
willpower to stay ethical. Exactly. You're like, but some people are willing to sacrifice their ethics for money. Obviously.
We've all got to come up with ways to deal with the conflict and to deal with the temptation that are in the world around us.
Speaking of Bitcoin maxis, I know that everyone hates Saylor, but Bitcoin Archive did a Spaces with Saylor, and if you listen to that and just ignore all the shilling that he does for Bitcoin, ignore everything he says about Bitcoin, or whenever he says Bitcoin, just replace it mentally with the word hex, how he explains what Sam was doing, or like, yeah, he doesn't even pull punches. He's not even like, oh, you know, we've been led to believe this, or it appears this, or allegedly he did this. He's just like, what he did was this, and he just lays it down. And when you see how easy it is, once you're in that position where you've got your own token and you've got a reputation and you've got people backing you, how easy it is to just build and build and build and magnify this fraud into oblivion. It's actually quite a good lesson for people to learn about how easy this is once you're in that position, that you can basically just, you can just go infinite money because you just pump your own token and then borrow against it, basically. So like if you're using your own token for collateral, but you can effectively market make your own token to make the price whatever you want, you're like, if I need another $1 billion, I just lift the price of my token by 3 cents and then borrow against that. So it's like it's an elite version. So it's like the next level scam of dumping on your followers. Dumping on your followers is rookie shit compared to what Sam did, according to Saylor. So rather than using your followers as exit liquidity on your scam token, you don't dump on them. You actually pump the price and then you borrow against it, so that then you're not limited by how much liquidity there is in the market, because you've got this fake cap for the token that you've got. So it's pretty
Which
fun.
is sort of like, it's what you just explained there is sort of like the housing market, right?
It's galaxy brain scamming, man. It's the galaxy brain version of scamming. Do you know what I mean? It's like when you take a scam to like the fucking next level.
What you just explained there is sort of like the
So if everyone, I'm just muting you, Unrect, for a second because we're getting some feedback. It's sort of like if everyone went and like to get the money that they have in their house, let's say everyone just needed money, they all went and sold their houses, the prices of houses would just drop to very, very low.
I don't think that's a fair,
Instead,
analogy
people
compared
go
to
to a
what
bank.
Sam did, though. Because houses actually have value because people can live in them. This was completely like backed by nothing. This was just a fake ass token. Like he just printed his own money out of thin air, which is what most crypto projects do.
I think it's a fair comparison. Though.
You're doing the imaginary horribles defense that Richard uses to defend Hex and other cryptos as to why, like, if everyone sells at once, the price goes to zero, and that's the same of any asset. That is true. I wouldn't say that FTT and houses are the same shit. They're not, and they're nothing alike.
No, they're not the same. But the mechanic of
like not even close.
But the mechanic of if you need to sell into if you need to sell into a liquid market, then the price is going to dump. So the mechanic of that is the same. Whereas what a lot of people do instead of that is they go and do what you mentioned, which was they go to a bank and borrow against that property and get the money, and then they have that money against that asset. So I'm talking about the mechanic of it, not comparing the assets, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
I'm talking about the mechanic.
You can't do the same thing with houses unless you had a majority holding of all houses in the entire world. There's actually a real market for buying and selling of houses. Whereas with FTT, it was like majority holder them. They own the place where the shit is bought and sold. Like so, the housing market at least is like no one owns the actual marketplace. Do you know what I mean? It's decentralized across multiple real estate agents, etc.
They're definitely different things. I'm not saying they're the same thing. I'm just like the market, the dynamic of loads of houses being on the market or loads of FTT being on the market would dump prices of those two assets.
Yeah, this supply-demand dynamics and market forces obviously exist in any market, but we're more talking about the fraudulent aspects of that particular market.
Do we think that he's going? Do we think he's going down? Do we think that he's going to go down?
The only thing I think what may be his downfall. Because is it he's a footballer or something? Is it Tom Brady or is that
Tom Brady? Yeah.
How about that? So they put in a fuck ton of money is the only way to put it. So they've gone in as an investment. Huge amount. Now, if you were going to put in, and it was over a couple of $100 million or something, wasn't it? It was crazy.
Yeah. I think it was like 400 or 600 mil.
Yeah. It was an insane amount. So who drops that sort of money on that sort of venture without having someone comb over all the books and look over something in detail? Like, I find it hard to believe.
Does that?
Well, everyone did it.
Yeah.
Who does that work?
No, that's what I'm saying,
Everyone in the industry did it.
But these guys aren't in the industry though. These guys are.
I see what you're saying.
Personalities, footballers. They're all from outside. It's all outside capital that's been brought in. So
anyone who actually did their DD said they wouldn't touch it with a fucking. They wouldn't F it with your D. Like so,
yeah.
Chamath. There's that video from Chamath saying they had a teleconference and then he asked for a few things. They told him to go F themselves, and so he was just like, "Well, I'm definitely not investing in that." Saylor said that if he even tried to invest in it, he would have had everyone in his company would have quit immediately because they would have been like, that is way, like, we're not involved in this, like, out.
Yeah.
So anyone who, I think people just thought that in crypto, if you don't act fast, you miss out on deal flow. So people just, and
you know what?
They outsourced their DD because other companies were already involved, that they were like, well, if these companies are involved, they must have done their DD.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say is, so everyone's just assumed that if, because his parents are both highly educated, both compliance lawyers or compliance-based industry.
You saw that video? That's a joke.
Yeah.
That one where he's like, FTX is the safest because his parents are fucking lawyers.
That was Kevin O'Leary, wasn't it?
That was O'Leary as well, yes.
Yeah. So you've got all these, they look across the
safest for SBF it was.
Yeah, he's donating to all these polys and got all these high flyers over here. And you see that happen a lot in massive scams where it's just people are still dumb, but they just don't want to be the person that's missing out, and they're seeing looks like everything.
Yeah, dude.
Well,
all the right
I think everyone should have an each way bet. I mean, you reckon that, like, if you're going to treat it like that, like a horse race, why do you just like get started before easy steps? You know, if you've already got a MetaMask, you can swap your ETH into Hex and you can stake it, and then you can earn more Hex. It's not that hard. You don't have to be like a stupid galaxy brain to understand that. It's still the best value proposition. It's the only finished product. Well, you know, obviously, I turn it off because I don't want to even read into all of the what do you call it, FUD, and you know, look, I don't know, because otherwise, I mean, it just turns into toxicity on isn't that? That's no good for anything.
Actually, Unrec.
That's what we're supposed to be doing.
What you just said,
help others.
What you just said right there makes me realize I should clarify something that I said earlier. When I said I was disappointed, my disappointment was not in Hex. My disappointment was in the fact that I genuinely believed that the ruckus we made, based on like the hashtag Richard Hart was right, all the interviews, everyone in the crypto space starting to broadly accept that Richard was right about that shit. I thought that would bring a lot of capital over to Hex as a flight to safety. And I'm disappointed that these motherfuckers, they're obviously realizing that Hex is legit and that Richard Hart was right, but they're either not acting on it or they're too scared to.
Is he right?
Yeah, absolutely.
In terms of the way the product has been put together, he's right on a technical level there.
It doesn't matter if
he's been right about
wrong. It doesn't matter. Hex just goes.
And he's been right about all the centralized fucky that's happening.
I just thought that would make such an amazing advertisement for Hex. I just genuinely thought that would be the most amazing advertisement, that people would be like, holy fuck, Like, I get it now. I get it. We need real DeFi shit, and Hex is it. Let's go flight
Where's
to
the sell pressure
safety.
coming from? That's what I want to know. Where's all the sell pressure in Hex? Andrew?
Bitch ass motherfuckers. Bitch ass motherfuckers.
Who's pressing the red button? I'm in pain sometimes.
There's an address that's dumping a hell of a lot of Hex right now. There's an address that's dumping a lot of Hex right now. It's on chain, so this is not something that this is not hearsay. You can actually Jexa, do you have that address? The one that's
in Signal. I've put both of them in there.
I can't access that, mate, from here.
Okay.
Look, I think because the liquidity is so thin that we're seeing an
if you put it into Telegram, I
over-dramatized.
should be able to get it across. Sorry, buddy.
We're seeing.
Yeah.
All right, that's right. We're seeing over-dramatized price action to the downside because the liquidity is so thin. There's various reasons for that. One's the bear market. One is with PulseChain coming up. Some people are scared to be stuck in like LPs and shit like that. And there's probably other reasons as well. But with thin liquidity, it only really takes one shark or dolphin to just be a bitch ass fucking bitch. And and then it just fucking nukes the price. And then everyone else gets scared and starts dumping as well. And it's a fucking shit show.
But let's balance that though, Tangent, because this same address also has millions and millions of Hex staked out.
That's worse. That's worse. So at least if it didn't, we'd be like, okay, that motherfucker's gone. Like, thank God we can fucking get on with this. But it's like it's relentless, and that just makes it sound worse.
Yeah. So what? So
when would
people that are flying? Sorry, you go.
No, I was just going to say, like, if that's a player in this decentralized contract, right?
Mm-hmm.
That entity is a player in the decentralized contract. Everyone has. I'm going to pop that in the chat right now. That Etherscan address, and you guys can check it out.
Yeah, listen, name Shane. Come on. No.
So you guys can go check it out. So like the whole point of the decentralized thing is that people can, I guess, do what they want, right? So this entity is selling a lot right now and creating lower prices because they're selling. So the question is, I guess to Tangent, is when do you think it's better for them to sell?
Yeah. Sorry, man. I'm just a bitter ass, jaded ass bitch. Like, as in, I'm just pissed. Like, so I believe in free markets, and this person can do whatever the fuck they want. Like, as in,
By the way, I don't know the answer to that either.
I believe in freedom. I believe in financial freedom. If they want to sell, they can sell. Like,
but we don't know. But I don't know the answer to it. Like, I'm not going to say to anyone in the chat, anyone watching, we don't know the answers. We don't know. We don't know what the right or wrong is. We have no idea.
It's a complex world. It's a complex network.
So people will flight to safety if and when they feel they need to, but when a market bottoms and you start to see signs of a reversal, do you think they've left the crypto space altogether? The same volatility on the downside is the same volatility on the upside. So
that's right.
You may hate this guy.
Exactly right.
You may hate this address now, but he could turn out to be your best buddy later on. So
like I said, no hate. No
that's
hate.
Right.
I'm just like locally, I'm just upset about the price action, and I'm being unreasonable.
I cry myself to sleep every night into my Cocoa Pops over that, the price of X.
What's that? You're crying out Cocoa Pops?
Mine's about to die. My phone's going to die. So I won't have to go. I might have to switch to audio. I'll try and switch to audio. Yeah, that's why I haven't been coming. I've been so devastated about X price. I haven't been able to show my face on the internet That's all.
I've actually got video of Unwrecked crying. Oh, he's out. Oh no, he's still here. I've actually got video of Unwrecked crying into his Cocoa Pops. Let me just play it.
How are you feeling about this, David?
It's like we have these like super awesome foundations, and just like they just keep on enabling the worst.
Do you think that
like it's hard to justify what the hell we're doing here, man? Like it's hard to justify what the hell we're doing here, man.
Bro, that is my
I sent that
favorite
quote to you guys.
That is my
I sent
favorite
that quote to you
clip.
guys in our chat today.
My favorite clip of this bear market is that guy crying into his Cocoa Pops.
Mine's still pumping the rocket ship.
By the way, another rumor is that podcast was being paid by FTX.
And quite a substantial amount, mind you.
So I could understand those tears. And that's what you call the tears of a Hex hater. They are the tears of a Hex hater right there.
Hey, what last week or the week before when we played that, and the comment we made was that seems like someone that's either been really wrecked by FTX or whatever. Like they're pretty emotional. Maybe it wasn't that they had funds. Maybe they did have funds on the platform, but if they were getting this big juicy cash injection every month and that suddenly disappeared, that might be caused to be a little bit emotional as well.
I heard it was 250K.
That's what I heard.
A month.
I don't know if that's true or not.
I don't know if that's true. Hearsay. Hearsay. Yeah.
That is a crap ton of money for shilling.
Where's our
and then to have
where's our payday? What's going on with our big payday?
Hey,
I haven't seen mine yet, buddy.
Do you know what's interesting about this? Sorry, Unwrecked, I interrupted you. You speak.
No, I was just saying, where's our paychecks for doing this? I've been away for 30 weeks. You blokes have been doing a marvellous job, by the way. I've seen little bits and pieces, but I don't shoot every week. But congratulations to you guys. Getting up every week, each and every week. I've just had too many life challenges, I suppose. And, I'm just trying to get back into it now. But it's been tough. Like I say, it's been a really tough year. So good on you guys for showing up every week.
We'll still be here, mate.
What's that about?
Occasionally we get super chats, but they go to Discourse Syndicate.
Oh, I'm only joking. I do it for the love, mate. I don't care.
Yeah,
I don't care about that.
Yes.
That was a joke. But they're getting that kind of going from shilling on YouTube. Like, where's that money coming from? Anyway, that's okay.
Oh, yeah, that's another reason why Hex is more sustainable than something like FTT, because they were smoking all their money trying to bribe influencers and shit like that. Whereas Hex has got that organic growth of the community. So when something happens in Hex, it's actually real. It's not being fake funded by stolen funds. Do you know what I mean? It's just, I know I already said this, but my disappointment comes from I really thought we were going to have a fucking breakthrough moment where the broader crypto community realized that Hex was the shit and that was the place to be, flight to safety, the Noah's Ark shit. But you know what the problem is? I think maybe a lot of the people who have worked it out, they're so fucking wrecked from getting scammed by fucking FTX that they don't have any more powder they're like, yeah, I would love to buy some Hex, but now I fucking can't. Because this prick stole all my fucking money.
Dude,
I reckon that's maybe what's up.
Rick, I apologize for calling the bottom.
We're all wrecked. But dude, no one's as wrecked.
Once a week.
No one's as wrecked as badly as the people who had literally 100% loss. Yeah. Or let's a small chance of a small fraction of money returned. like maybe a small chance of pennies on the dollar at some point in the future, like me waiting over a decade for Mt. Gox coins. Like, so it's like a maybe on top of a maybe.
If you lose your coin,
it's harder and harder to shoot.
Pretty hard to come back from. If If price dips in something, but you're still holding it,
back to square one. Yeah. It's absolutely devastating.
If your coin count's gone, then you're screwed. But I wouldn't be so quick to give up on that tangent. I think people take time to come around. Like once the light bulb goes on, they don't instantly rush out and take action. Like people got to. That's a big step just to get over. Oh, yeah, maybe I was wrong. Maybe he was right, and then you've got to. That's a process to come around from that, and that'll.
Yeah, that's a fair
honestly
comment.
I don't think you're going to see anyone like in the current market. You're not going to see anyone enthusiastic about going into anything. So I think that's going to be a result of time. You got to let it all play out. But I think it's like he's been like some of the Twitter spaces that have been running. There's been we've had crazy like people dropping in and like people you just wouldn't expect to drop into those spaces from crypto and outside of crypto as well.
Yeah, and even Elon Musk made a comment on FTX. It's definitely getting.
You know what I realized from Elon jumping in there that dude knows absolutely fuck all about crypto.
Fuck all, less than fuck all.
Yeah. So
did he even he fucked up the "not your keys, not your crypto" quote.
Yeah.
He was like not like what did he say? He said something.
I can't even remember what he said.
It just sounded so off, man. It was so not the way that there's lots of versions of it that actually get used in crypto. He used some.
Yeah, but you only got to get one of them, right?
He could have picked any of them, but he was like, maybe he's an autist like me, so I'm going to give him a pass on that. But like, you'd think that he's been in crypto long enough to know the shit, like to know how to say shit.
Yeah. No, but I think what came out of that is he tweets out these various things, but I think he is, and rightly so. He's so involved in his building spaceships and building cars and shit like that. He doesn't have the headspace to know what's going on in crypto, which is fair enough. But the takeaway is you shouldn't be taking advice from him on it. Like people, hang on.
I try to give a fuck about other things that are not crypto, like say like longevity tech or rocket ships or cars or like something like cars that I used to that used to be my whole thing. Like my favorite shit in the world was cars. Now I try to give a fuck about that, and like 5 minutes later, I'm like back to crypto. So like his passion is like rocket ships and electric cars and going to Mars and shit like that. So it'd be very difficult for him to like. He probably realizes that crypto is important, but every time he goes over to look at it, he's probably like distracted back to like his core focus.
Yeah. I think you just got to stay in your lane with these sorts of things. He keep doing what he's doing. He's doing a kick-ass job. I love what he's doing at Twitter and
be good to the people. Be good to the ones who hate you. You know, you're going to get hated. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, he's shaking some branches and
love him.
A lot of bad fruits falling out. So that's good to see. I hope he keeps doing that sort of stuff. But man, he's not the person you should be taking advice for anything related to crypto.
You know, if you believe in the whole, there's no such thing as bad publicity, then this FTX thing. There's positives here, right? Like, as in, everyone is hearing about this shit. Like, I'm having randos ask me about like, what's this FTX thing? Like, people sending me links. Hey, man, have you seen this shit? I'm like, dude, it's all I've heard about for the last 3 weeks. What do you mean? That's what it goes about this shit.
Yeah, that goes back to what I'm saying though, because everyone's getting this heavily filtered version of crypto's turned like this crypto thing's turned to shit, and it's not a crypto thing. It's
interestingly, the links they sent me was Elio Trades. He's got a video on the FTT shit. CoffeeZilla has got a video on it. They're actually not bad. Like, I'm not a fan of Elio Trades, but his video on this thing is not that bad. CoffeeZilla, I know people don't like the fact that he spoke negatively about Hex, but Funding Jim was tweeting at him being like, bro, you are misinformed about this. Allow someone in the Hex community to actually have a discussion with you, and I promise you, we will be able to show you the light. So I think CoffeeZilla, because CoffeeZilla is not maliciously calling a Hex a scam because it somehow financially benefits him. It is purely out of ignorance. So I believe that so he is someone, you've got to sometimes assess, is this person turnable to the truth? And you know how they say there's no one that's more harder to convince than someone whose paycheck relies on them believing something that is false, right? Yeah. CoffeeZilla is not in that category. I think he's turnable. Like, as in, I think we can pivot him into a correct attitude towards Hex.
What I find about him, though, is, so if he's wrong about Hex in terms of some of the technicalities and stuff, and there was something I was watching the other day where he was also wrong about that. So he's jumping in and jumping on the bandwagon and doing these hatchet jobs on things, and his facts aren't correct. Like, to me, that's sloppy. Like,
I've heard him make apology videos before. Like, I've heard him make apology videos where, so say like, even if overall he's still right about something being a fucking scam, but there was a component of it that he was wrong about, he'll actually be like, yo, I was actually wrong about this, and I've, someone's corrected me on this shit. This part I was wrong about, but obviously within the broader context, this thing's still a fucking scam. But
my concern is, if you come out and call someone a pedo and they're not, you can't backtrack that. There's only so much you can backtrack it because the damage is done. Right. So, and that's what he does. He comes out and goes on full blast and doesn't have all the facts there. They're not accurate, but the damage is done. So I think people need to be a hell of a lot more responsible if they're going to go on full tilt, and you better have your shit sorted. So, but in saying that, he's probably better than he's probably better than a lot of mainstream media.
Most, I guess you do need to be careful. That was actually very irresponsible. That was actually very irresponsible of him to comment on Hex without looking into it properly. That is highly irresponsible.
Well, on anything, yeah. I mean, we get up here every week and we bag on it as well, but we don't go hard on things, and we don't have that level of influence.
In my opinion, right? Like, because I like a lot of his content when he's like, when he's shitting on anything else other than Hex. Sounds so biased, but like, most of the time he's right. And so, just to give everyone the context, what from what I've seen, because I was actually following his content when he was actually bagging on people who were scammers outside of the crypto industry. So that guy that was like giving away cash, there was some guy in Jay Dilla or Jay Zilla or some shit. There was dudes that like all the FTX traders, like those FTX TikTok traders that were like scamming people. He was kind of like all over that shit. And he was just generally calling out internet scammers, non-crypto. And I think he saw that the very first time that he did one that was crypto related, his views and subscribers and his likes blew the fuck up. And ever since, he might have like run dual shit for a little bit where it was like crypto and non-crypto. And then I think he realized there was just so much demand for crypto related content. He's effectively now pivoted completely into crypto only scams. So, but keep in mind that at the front end of that, his experience in crypto, even in his own words, was fucking noob, right? Like he didn't really understand what you're looking at when you're looking at the blockchain. And fortunately, he picked it up quite quickly because he actually had people who were people who liked the idea of scammers being called out would get in contact with him and be like, yo, I can actually give you the blockchain forensics. I can walk you through this shit and help you to uncover these scammers, show you which wallets are involved, etc. So I think he learnt quick, and he is obviously an intelligent guy. And so I think it's maybe just an unfortunate consequence that when he made that comment about Hex, it was still in the early stage where he hadn't learnt enough about crypto to be able to make that assessment properly. And everyone makes mistakes, man. Like, as in, I think he'll look back on this as a mistake that he made.
Yeah, I think, like I said before, I think we're going to have to be patient. It's going to take a little bit of time. You've got to, when you see all the dead bodies floating down the river and we're moving into a bull market, that's when you'll be able to sort the legitimate
the wheat from the chaff, as they say.
Yeah,
I actually made a poll. I made a poll that said, how long is it going to take these fucking, the crypto community and no coiners and shit to realize that Hex is the fucking bomb? Something I'm paraphrasing my own tweet here. That's not what I said, but the point is, I'm pretty sure the most votes went to like the longest time frame, which was like year plus or like 2 years plus or something, or next cycle. Like, so a lot of people agree with you that the amount of time it actually takes for people to fucking wake up to what is legit and not is longer.
And everyone's still in shell shock. Like,
man, I just want to grab them and shake them. I just want to grab them.
But it's not. That's the whole space. That's at the moment. Like, there's bombs dropping left, right, and center, and stepping on landmines and all sorts of shit going on at the moment.
I will grab them. I'll be like, I know you've got PTSD. Take these magic mushrooms. Now fucking go and buy Hex. Like, this is like, we're going to get through this together. Like, it's. So yeah, shit.
I think everyone's just ducking for cover at the moment. So yeah.
Oh yeah, the bombs are still falling.
Yeah. And then, did you see Vitalik's tweet? I think it was today, where some large account put out the worst tweet you could, like, more or less, if you knew what I knew, you'd be selling everything, sort of thing. So good on Vitalik. He got stuck into him and took the piss out of him, because it was. Or you look through all the comments, it was like, that's really good, mate. You've done a tweet that no one can actually take any action on because you've given no details other than I know people high up that are saying X, Y, and Z, and didn't actually said what they said. Just said they said it was bad. So you've got that sort of shit.
No context, no source,
no usable action out of it that you can take.
Yeah, that's fun.
So that's where we're at. That's exactly where we're at the market at the moment.
There's an amazing thread that this guy started where he's like, I'm going to list below all the bottom signals. And then it's just got he's just adding to it every day, where it's like Jim Cramer saying, it's not too late to sell all your crypto, just get out of everything. It's got guy just like, he's basically just just pulling in all the different people. And seriously, I was reading through it and I'm like, these are bottom signals, in legit. This is the shit that you see at the fucking very bottom. So we must be so close. We must be so close.
Yeah.
But it's painful getting there. It's like we're in fucking slow motion murder. It's like I'm getting stabbed to death in slow motion, and there's nothing I can do about it.
I'm hoping the final call is this Genesis stuff. So I think a lot of people in the industry use those guys' services, whether it was custodial or for yield returns and things like that.
Yikes.
So that seems to be the final one, hopefully the final thing that's got to come out.
Dude, I honestly think to myself, as much as some of these businesses are things that I don't think fulfill the crypto ethos, I almost want to create one where I'm just going to make one that doesn't fuck around. And that would just be at least a step, a big step better than I'm probably not going to do that. But you're just if only they had just done what they said. They were already outside of crypto ideals. They were already not doing perfect crypto fucking cypherpunk shit. But then they couldn't even just do that. Like, they could have profited and made. It's just, man.
Yeah.
I think for the next month or so, I'm just going to be like going on the dark web and speeding karma up, you know? Like, it just, like, I just need this shit to just clear. We just need to clear.
But you've got to have it all. It's all got to wash through, doesn't it? So yeah, if we get this final event happen, hopefully, and everyone that's got the weekends can bail if they want, and then we can start to build back again.
But the crying guy, right? Like, I know we all give him shit because they stepped against Richard. So now he's been like memed into infinity. And obviously, like, the part of what he said that's actually legit is the kind of like this concern, which I've actually voiced this a lot previously, that you all, like, in a growing industry, you've got an unlimited, actually not just unlimited in constant unlimited, but increasing flow of fucking noobs that you can take advantage of if you are a scammer. So it's like the problem gets worse, not better. And we're all like, we've got Richard Hart and all of us who parrot his lessons screaming from the rooftops. And yet it's like the problem gets worse and worse and worse. And so I kind of do get where that guy was coming from, where you're just like, fucking hell, man. Like we've put all this effort in to try and educate, and so many people all educating for free. People volunteering their time to educate. And then these motherfuckers just love getting scammed. And are we going to be able to combat it in the future? Is it going to get worse or is it going to get better?
If you're getting educated by someone that's shilling links to the scammers, all you're doing is magnifying bad education. So the guy that's calling that out was literally shilling FTX and done like an hour episode on them, like an infomercial sort of arrangement.
Yeah, so he's part of the problem.
He's part of the problem. So you can sit there.
So I should be the one. I should be the one fucking crying. This dude. I should be the one fucking crying, being like, "What are we doing here?" Just ugly crying all over the stream. He doesn't even have the right to be crying.
So
he doesn't have the right to be crying.
If the price we have to pay for all of this bullshit that's just gone on is, so we've seen BitBoy, he has come 180. You've got to give him credit.
I refollowed him, by the way. I had unfollowed that motherfucker. I refollowed him.
Okay, so if you go back to the beginning of this cycle, he was shilling everything. You've seen his little ad for how much he gets paid to shill things. They had links for everything. So they've all done it. At least he's seen the light and he's coming around, and I think he's changing his...
I actually have a comment on that, though. The first time I ever heard him say, we need to fucking clean up this industry. We need to stop this shit. Do you know the initial thought I had was the cross the moat, pull up the drawbridge. I've made my millions from fucking shilling ref links and dumping on my followers. Now let's clean up the industry so that no one else can get rich off the method that I use. I was like, you motherfucker. Like,
I agree.
Not that I want that to continue, but I'm like, yeah, it's well and good for you with your fucking, like, I think at one point he said he's got 20 mil or whatever. And I think he made some comment like he found a wallet address that had like a fucking mill in it or something, and it was like finding fucking change behind the couch. Like, oh, I forgot I invested in that token. But maybe not a mil, but there was like hundreds of thousands or something. And I was like, you motherfucker, like you have effectively profited from not ethical shit. And now, like, convenient that now you're like, yeah, we need to clean this shit up now because obviously he's worked out that now he's so big that if he continues doing that unethical bullshit, that he will get fucked. So he's like, now I definitely can't do it. So let's try and make it so no one can do it. Then motherfuckers can't catch up to me. Like, I'm not saying that's necessarily his exact thought process, but it's
I think
it's potentially what I thought could be the situation. So
it's like, but I get the hypocrisy of it all.
But broadly, he's been a force for good in recent time. So
do you know what the tipping point was?
I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt for now.
I think the tipping point was Celsius going under and him having funds on it and promoting it, and so I think that was the possibly the catalyst for it. So, regardless, like he's been a friend to our community. Well, sorry, he's become
more amenable to that shit. Yeah,
because I think he understands what we're all about and why we've been bashing our head against the wall for the last 3 years. So I think he's starting to realize that. Now, does he agree totally with the way it's been done by our community? Probably not. We've been pretty full on and in everyone's face, but we're trying to get a message out. So
bro, I'm very cynical on stuff like this. That was the other thing. Very cynical. Like I can't help.
Rand Newer, Crypto Banter, fucking Ivan on Tech. These are channels with huge followers where they pivoted from being negative to neutral on Hex into positive on Richard Hart. And so that was another thing where I was like, this has got to bring buyers to Hex. Definitely has to.
Why? Ask yourself the question, why? Why? I'm cynical as fuck, bro.
These motherfuckers worship those guys, like as in their follower base. They've got Sheldon the sniper, like as in
the point I'm trying to make.
Worship the fucking shit that they say, man. That like,
hang on, the point I'm trying to like get to here is, why have these guys all flipped over? I'm cynical when it comes to shit like this, man. I always think that like people have, like, these guys are not silly, right? It's a bear market.
That's
who
good.
Has got which community has the most engagement, right? So
nice.
You know what I'm saying?
Nice. Adversarial thinking 43. I like it. So you're like these are the only people that are still active within crypto. If I want viewership, I need to fucking start talking about this project. Otherwise, my channel dies.
Actually, I'll give you that 143 because that was Ivan's comeback. Ivan's comeback video, because he just went dark apparently for a while. His comeback video was with Richard. So that was.
I agree with what you're saying.
Like these guys, like Hex has been uptime 3 years, 100% uptime for 3 years. They can't really keep shitting on Hex in the same way they shit on it at the start. So,
but also they don't care.
You know, these guys don't
fucking care. They don't. They don't.
They're
like,
also trying to.
They don't actually give. Like, they don't actually give a fuck what they're doing. Like I agree with you 1,000,000% in that. They don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck what their content is. You are right. Their proven track record of ethics could be, I still think that Hex is a scam, but fuck it, I'm going to promote it to get viewership. That's possible. I'm not saying that that's what it is, but I'm saying that I would not be surprised. These are really good points.
They might not think that Hex. They might not think that Hex is a scam, but what their model is it's a model of talking about all these different coins, people getting into those coins, and that's their model. But that's not the model that's not our model. We've got a strong community who believe in like DeFi, and it's a bear market, and they haven't got any viewers. So if they say some nice things about Richard and some nice things about
they get
the Hex
instant,
community,
like
they get like, these guys are on our side.
Galore. Engagement galore. Well, then
don't
we
expect
win.
that to be the case next. Like, I
doesn't matter.
Automatically expect that to be the case.
We don't need it in the bull. We don't need it in the bull. We don't.
Assuming there's a bull market. Who knows?
So this is a win for us.
I don't know.
This is a win. This is a win for the community. This is a win. This only occurred because of the community. Like, as in, assuming this theory is correct, which sounds fucking legit to me, that this is only because our community is so strong that we got that benefit of them fucking doing backflips and doing 180s.
This is a good comment by Archie S. This is a good comment. we need those guys in the bigger fight with government regulators whenever they have done whatever they have done in the past. Yeah, I agree.
Yes.
Like when it comes to like regulation, like we're sort of the people who are on the side of DeFi, we're sort of all on the same side. When you talk about CeFi, like SBF, I don't see that guy as being on the same side. Like, do you know what I mean? Like I will always err on this. Yeah.
This is a really good point because that is one thing that I have noticed that is consistent. Data Dash, Moon Carl, Crypto, Ivan on Tech, BitBoy, fucking all of these guys that have got high follower counts, they actually all do promote the freedom aspect, that aspect of crypto, the anti-bank, anti-government side of crypto. They actually do. They are all on board.
They may say that, but their actions are not that.
Sorry, yes, I'll agree with you that their content is in that vein.
Honestly, man, I don't know how Crypto and Moon or whatever his bloody name is, Moon Carl. How the fuck are they the biggest channels?
I don't watch Moon Carl. I watch Crypto though.
I can't handle either of them. Like
I watch I watch Crypto because
Never seen
I don't know. Do you know what? I might be a sucker for fucking like Scandinavian-ish accents because I like Ivan on Tech. I like. Do you know what? Actually, something I like about Ivan on Tech, which I want to try and do more with my own content, because English is not his first language. He doesn't bother to try to go into like high levels of detail. He just says his opinion and he just fucking says it and leaves it. So say someone asks a question like, oh, is this thing good? He'll just be like, he's like, no, that's not how it works. It works like this. And then that's it. Like, as in, do you know what I mean? Like, as in, it's a simplified version and it's just he just gives his opinion genuinely and then it just moves on. Whereas in my content, I'm like trying to discuss like high detail level, all the nuances, countering my own arguments and shit. Like,
so do you think if Crypto channel doesn't work out for the crypto side of things, he could move over to ASMR and you'd be pretty happy?
What's ASMR?
Really, you haven't heard of ASMR?
Is that a legacy?
Go on, go on YouTube and search for that. That's
a whole... some kind of like German porn or something.
No, it's not. It's like people whispering and stuff like that, all calm voices and noises. And a couple of you.
No. I don't find their voices calming. You know, Guy from Coin Bureau. And by the way, that is one. So when my no coiner friends ask me what channels should I follow for content, right? I don't flood them with a lot of channels. And one of the ones I say, look, don't take his coin recommendations. Don't just buy the coins that he talks about, because often the coins that he talks about, in my opinion, are fucking shit, like Solana. However, he is one of the more sort of balanced opinions where, at least when he does a video, like say Guy does a video on Solana, he will actually say what pros and cons. He won't just do like full moonshot videos. And I like he does like a wrap up kind of news version of the crypto space every now and then, and he's got good production quality and shit like that. So that is one of the channels I actually recommend to my no coiner friends when they're coming into the space, which is Coin Bureau.
Yeah, actually, I like his content.
Do you see this comment, Tangent?
People have actually commented that they go to sleep. Like, so chicks message him saying, my husband goes to sleep listening to your videos. And that's the type of voice, like that kind of calm British voice that you could probably...
would I be admitting too much if I said I do that?
That you've fallen asleep to Guy? Yeah. Like, dude, I haven't. But when I heard him say it, that chicks have commented that, I thought, that sounds legit. Like, I can imagine people doing that.
Guilty.
Hey, Tangent, did you see this comment here?
So Tangent, no. I don't just.
I've got a
discriminate on race.
Hang on, I've got a follow-up question for Alan here. Why exactly is that good to know? Can you please elaborate? Why is it good to know? I don't know if that's good to know, man. I think I prefer not to know.
I can't even say it. Just in case I ever need to get tangent on. Note. So yeah, that's wild. Some videos of someone whispering. That's weird. I'll tell you something that's better. Someone put me onto it's actually a chick I'm seeing. Actually, I don't know why I downplayed that. Basically, there are these playlists on Spotify that they're like frequencies from nature, and it's meant to help you sleep better. So I'm experimenting with that shit at the moment, and it's like I'll find it. You guys keep talking. I'll find the shit. It's got a special name.
You're going to see ASMR pop up everywhere now. Now that you know about it.
No, because of hot mics or because I searched it.
No, just because it's that awareness thing.
Oh, confirmation bias. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like it's something else actually. Sorry.
It could be hot mics as well, man.
There's that like if you or someone you know buys a certain car, then you start seeing that car everywhere. It's like it's like that awareness bias or whatever.
So true, man. So true.
Yeah, field of awareness or whatever they call it.
Do you know, I actually recommend if you go and look up cognitive bias on fucking Wikipedia or wherever, just search cognitive bias, and there's a Wikipedia page on it that has all the different cognitive biases, and like go and read through how many different biases there are, and it's like, so being aware of the potential for those biases is actually quite powerful, because then you'll be like, oh, that's a bias, like that's a bias.
Yeah,
like,
you intercept your thoughts sort of thing.
Yeah, like being aware of it actually kind of dissolves the illusion or whatever. Like as in you have more control over your shit when you know you're being tricked, right? Like if you know, you're being tricked or manipulated.
When we get into those where you start catastrophizing and you play out this whole series of events in your head that is never going to happen, and when you can start picking yourself up on that and intercepting that straight away and going, oh, just drop that.
Yeah, exactly.
Reboot.
So if you guys do that, like if you go to Wikipedia under cognitive bias, you actually have to click under list of biases. You have to actually click the link to the list, and then that list is the full list, and it's insane. The number of cognitive biases there are is fucking
Wikipedia,
nuts. It's fucking nuts. It's like, it's a list that goes on for pages and pages and pages of all the different biases there are. It's fucking nuts.
All right. That'll give me something to do when I'm bored then. I'll check out all of that.
Yeah.
Hey, I tweeted something this week about, and it didn't get much engagement as usual, but it was...
It's a bear market, bro.
I'm not sure that makes any difference, but it was that I thought it would be cool if Staker App had like a section for HSI auctions. And I know Steph, for a fact that Steph hates it when people do that shit. It's just like, here you go, buddy. Like, here's like 100 hours of work for you to like somehow, yeah, thank you, Sammy. I know you always like my tweets. I really do appreciate that.
I know that he rejected the idea of incorporating ETHW onto Stake App, but he had a pretty legit reason for why.
Yeah. But like, just imagine if people could bid on. Just imagine if people were able to bid, like, just from a functionality perspective, if you could actually bid on like HSIs, which are Hex Stake instances, on the Staker App from your phone. So I've heard him say, when he was on the show like a while back, he's like, there's no there's no evidence out there that people are interested in buying encapsulated stakes. There's no market right out there. However, when the tools like are there that are easy like to use, that can help a market, I think, exist.
If you can get discount shares, that's a little bit more enticing, because people haven't sort of thought of it in that regard at the moment. So everyone's thinking you make a stake, you go put that on the market at market rate. Whereas now with the auction things that is happening, Bluey said someone, and this was a massive one that got picked up, but it was at a 87% discount.
Yeah.
So
what does that do? That essentially gives you a better Hex share rate. Essentially, if you work it out at, and look, and these stakes are like 5,555. So you need to be like sort of, I guess, unless you want to go and sell it back to the ICOSA contract, you sort of need to be a committed person. 5,555 days is 15 years. That's a long time. All this shit might not exist in 15 years.
But you can sell it. You can sell it on the open market as well, right? So you can
I think it will, but my guess is.
Yeah, and I think.
Did you guys say there was one that was like 80%? They got it for 80% discount.
Yeah, but you had to have 20. I think it was 20 billion Hedron that won the auction, but it was. I think there's obviously only a few people able to bid on that.
Yeah.
So this is one of the theories as to why Poly was created, was because someone recognized that whales would be able to play these games where a whale. So say you're a whale in Hex, you create an HSI that's so large that only very, very, very few people would have the amount of Hedron to be able to buy it. And then, so you create that HSI and then you put it and then you do it or whatever so that it goes up for auction. And then you're one of the only very, very, very few people who can actually afford to buy it back, which means you don't have any competition in the auction process. And so you get it at ridiculously cheap and then you can just keep doing it. So basically, so Poly was going to protect against that, because then there was going to be a pool of funds that could actually help to bid against stop that whale activity, like that whale manipulation, because there would be a new whale that's benevolent, that basically it's the people's whale or whatever.
You can only do that so much before it starts to hurt you, though. So, but if you're going to keep churning that, you're going to have to get the Hedron from somewhere, because you're going to burn your Hedron every time you do it.
But you can just sell it back into ICOSA and then sell the ICOSA into Hedron and then do it again.
Yeah, but you're selling it back on top of yourself. You've got to sell that to buy the Hedron, or like.
Well, I guess it basically just arbs the price of ICOSA down until.
Yeah, I think if you're doing that, if you're selling it to other people, but if you're selling it back into yourself all the time.
But you can sell it for ICOSA.
Yeah, I get that. But what are you going to do with the ICOSA when you get it?
Sell it into Hedron and then use that Hedron to bid on the next
so then
thing.
you're pushing but that's what I'm saying. You're just transferring the value between the Hedron and the ICOSA. You just
but if it's at 80%, if it's an arb of 80% of the value, then you can do that a lot.
Oh yeah, I don't know how long it.
And if you're the only one doing it, so like I hope I'm not publicly giving whales ideas here, but like basically, but then now obviously Poly got fucked, like in terms of its ability to bid on HSIs at all. So now that has reopened the door, and I think that may be one of the aspects of why this HSI got bought for so much lower. That would have been one of the ones where the Poly pool would have come in and helped to at least get a more fair price. Like definitely not 80% discount. That's nuts.
Yep. Yeah, no, I agree. It's a shame it didn't work out. It would have been an interesting tool to have for the community.
So this person says put every last Hedron into the Poly contract, and he's pissed maxed, which I guess if you don't, very unhappy customer.
The thing is, my opinion on this is it's been rebacked to 110%. So there's there's actually 110%. So the underlying value is always the underlying value. So I'm not going to say it's 110% of the underlying value, because it's like the underlying value is 100% of the underlying value. But what I'm saying is the underlying value should now theoretically be 110% of to one hedron, plus it's staked. So every day it's building value, and the price is like 30% under. So I think it might just take people within our community to realize that there's a 40% gap between what you can buy poly for and what the underlying value is. It's the retardation is like the opposite of maxi. You know how I was always screaming about like maxi being overvalued, like there being too much premium. This is like the other direction, where people are just scared. They thought that it was a contractual fail, like that it was like a problem, so people have been dumping it, and now it's actually way below what it's actually valued at.
Yeah, I think that the issue is people thought it was going to be backed by Hex Stakes. So now it's no longer backed by Hex Stakes.
But does that matter?
So
it's like,
well, it does. It's a materially different thing that you're backing it by.
Yeah, but
like it's all the same ecosystem. So I know what you're saying.
I get it. I get it in terms of like, this is not what I signed up for, and that's why people sold out. That's why the price went down. But shouldn't then logical actors come in and say, "Oi, there's an underlying value here which is 40% higher than the price, and shouldn't that gap eventually close?" Like, man,
it's the same as your but that's the same as your maxi.
Unless it's the same community that fucking kept the maxi premium at 2.2. You're absolutely right. You know what, Jexo? You're right. I forgot to factor in the retard factor, and now we're back at fuck. So yeah, unfortunately, I think reputational damage is what we're talking about here. That because it didn't end up being what was promised, or what was promised is probably a loaded word, but like because it wasn't what people expected, there were lots of people that bailed out. And then because of this whole idea that everything in crypto is reflexive, including Hex, apparently, when the shit's going down, it just keeps fucking going down. So now you end up with a chance that look at GBTC premium as well. Like, as in, you just see this shit that just doesn't make sense, and it gets worse and worse. Worse.
We'll come back to that in a sec too. Yeah. So, keep going. So
I was going to say you can do it now if you want.
Yeah. The so obviously there's been a bit of FUD around. Are they going to have issues? Is there any insolvency type things that can happen with that fund? But I think there's something like there's a few people that had
something related to them. So not that trust itself, but I think there was like a related entity that can go, that they're saying is maybe going to go bankrupt.
Yeah, is that Barry Silbert that runs? Is it Barry Silbert that runs those? That's Digital Currency Group. Is that those guys?
Yes. Yeah.
I think I'm not sure if I'm confusing
it. Yeah. So yes, Digital Currency Group, thank you, was the one that is someone was saying they might go bankrupt.
Yeah, so I think there was a few players that were stepping in to bolster them up or bolster the fund. How can they go? How can they go? Unless it's the company and not that fund, because the Bitcoin fund can't go bankrupt, surely. It's just holding Bitcoin in the fund. The price of the units of the fund have gone down, but they've still got that Bitcoin. True? I can't see how they can pop it up.
It's a good point. You like, as in, most of these things, you'd think that the attitude is if they have been conducting themselves ethically, they shouldn't be able to go bankrupt, right? Like, as in, they're traded on the bloody NASDAQ or wherever it is, or whatever exchange they're on. So they're highly, highly regulated. So they can't not have the. It's a silly thing to say in retrospect of what's happening, but in theory, they should have to have the assets. It should all have to be audited very tightly and control.
So I don't know how. Yeah, I'm not sure how that is sort of linked into everything. But that was the other. Yeah. So outside of the and maybe this is tied back into that the Genesis thing. Maybe there's some sort of linkage there, or I don't know.
Maybe that DCG has like digital currency group. Maybe has like where they were doing other activities as well that were actually exposed to some of this contagion.
So where do they store their Bitcoin? Maybe that's
yes.
Because they would have to have that custody somewhere. They couldn't have it sitting on a Trezor somewhere in a drawer. So they're probably going to have insurances and have it custodied somewhere that's audited and all that sort of stuff. So that would be the biggest cock up ever if they're supposed to keep custody of your Bitcoin, then they create this thing that then loses it all because of something stupid like this. Maybe these are the fallout things that we've still yet to see play out, I think.
I've got a question. You don't have to answer this. Like neither of you, it's to both of you. Neither of you have to answer it. You can pass. Favorite project that is outside of the Richard Hart ecosystem? Because I'm just trying to think like where would you go to other than Bitcoin if you were like, I want to get away from all these fucking legacy fuckwits like trying to come in and infiltrate the system and shit. So like Bitcoin's no good anymore under that kind of assumption. But and so obviously Hex is the answer to this question. So I'm trying to get an answer that's not Hex because obviously it's too easy to just go Hex. Hex is the way. So outside of the Richard Hart ecosystem, what's your next favorite shit? Like what's your next favorite coin? But you don't have to answer. Mine's obviously Bitcoin still. What do you guys reckon?
If there wasn't so many headwinds, I'd be looking at a privacy type coin, maybe a Monero or something like that.
Solid answer.
But that's just because my leaning is, I think we should be in control of our money.
What are the parameters?
Have all this fuckery.
Like, what are the parameters of for what? Like favorite token or favorite protocol, or it doesn't matter, or just something.
I guess to put your faith of the industry, like to put your faith in the future of this industry into.
I like.
Do you know what I mean? If everyone agrees that Bitcoin's fucked because these fuckwits have come in and fucked it up by like whatever they've done. Like
I'll tell you what I like.
Too much institutional interest and attention now, and these fuckwits are part of the problem. Where would you go to other than Hex?
Oh, okay. So you're talking about investment stuff. I'm not going to answer this.
Like, investing for the future of this industry.
Like, for price yes. Mine wasn't on price appreciation.
Okay,
or anything.
mine's not.
Yes, correct.
Answer,
yes, Jex are correct.
Okay.
It's not to do with trying to make the most gains. This is about
my answer
saving,
is not okay. My answer is not even to do with like anything to do with investment at all. My answer is just what I like, what I think is good for the ecosystem.
Perfect.
I agree with Jexa. I think privacy stuff is good because if this stuff is to work, if DeFi is to work, you can't have everyone you send funds to being able to see what's in your account. Like, how can a business run that way? A business would not be. If DeFi is supposed to replace legacy stuff, then you need to be able to pay your employees without them being able to see where it's coming from. That's obvious, right? That's an obvious thing. The other thing that I think is necessary, which we already have, are decentralized exchanges. That shit is awesome, and that's not an endorsement at all. Don't go and invest in This is not investment advice. This is not at all that. This is just that changed the DeFi landscape completely.
Yeah.
Once there were decentralized contracts on Ethereum that you could, like, people could supply liquidity, and then other people could go in and transact and swap one thing for another. That changed the game, and that stuff I think that is those things are the most important things. The other things that are important are making sure that like chains are not being censored on a protocol level, so that like node operators or validators are not censoring transactions, or if they are, there's always an option, because the whole point is that someone who is in a country, perhaps like, for example, and this comes off like from words from Eric Voorhees that he had in his debate with SBF. He was talking about, okay, so Iran is on the OFAC list, like sanction list, right? And that just sanctions everyone in Iran. What about the woman in Iran who's trying to escape that regime? Or like, what are they supposed to do? Where are they supposed to put their money? You don't want to censor that particular person because your net that you're casting is far too wide. So these are the things to me that are important when it comes to DeFi. Like, we don't want to cast nets that just fuck everyone, including people who you're not trying to fuck, you know?
Yeah.
So
this was Jesse Powell's comment. He's like, I'm not going to censor all Russians because there are people there that like they might need to feed their family and they've got nothing to do with any shit that you guys are trying to fight against. It's just something.
Let's face it, most of the citizens
trying to
don't
feed their family. Yeah.
So
he was just like, I'm not doing it. He's like, that is the most severe and extreme control that should only be reserved into the most like, we should only be doing that in the most extreme of cases, not just fuck it, just pull a pin on everyone like based on their nationality, just fucking do it.
So that's the money side of it, or the value store and transfer side of it. Where I still think we've got a big hole, and we're a long way from filling this hole at the moment.
Big hole.
Big hole is we've still got lots of big tech companies that are, whether it's Twitter or Facebook or Google or whatever, they are still going to be really interfering in your life until we come up with a better way to store that data and do that in a decentralized fashion. And I don't know if anyone's sort of found the silver bullet for that yet. There might be. I don't know if you watched that interview with BitBoy. There was a guy on there. He was talking about, I think it was new chain or new coin or something like that. I could have that completely wrong, but it was he was a guy that's not really in the crypto space, but works on digital ledgers all the time. And they were talking about, they had all this really cool cross-chain stuff and data storage and things like that. From that point of view, I'd be interested to see what tech they've actually built out, because that is, at the moment, we can't store data very well. And that's going to be the thing that stops us moving forward, I think.
If we had basically, I'm thinking now, if we had effectively progressed this industry in small increments, baby steps, and effectively Richard Hart launching Hex is the best example of this, right? He was like, what if we've got Bitcoin as a store of value or whatever, what's the next step? Like what's the next innovation that needs to be done? And let's work out how to do that next small increment in a trustless way that adheres to all the ethics and principles of this whole idea of what we're about, what we're here for. If we had done it in that way, we would have just forged forward with a fucking flame front that would have just absolutely fucked everyone up, like as in all the people that needed to get fucked up. Like we would have just ripped through. But instead, these motherfuckers went, let's go and do lending, but then basically did it like 90% trusted shit, like basically, and then just recreated the legacy system with the crypto banner and fucked everything up. Just absolutely fucked it. Satoshi would be like, you fucking cunts, you dumb fucking cunts, fucking cunts, you fucking dumb fucks. Like I gave you the keys to the castle and you came in and just fucked it up. Like you let all the fucking, you let the dumbest, most unethical fucks into the castle and they fucked my shit up. And now I want Satoshi to come back like the fucking second coming of Jesus. I want him to come back and just rip everyone a new hole. Just Richard Hart will be with him, man. They'll come in. It'll be like Double Dragon. It'll be like Satoshi and Richard Hart, and they'll just go through and fuck everyone up. It's disappointing, man. It's really disappointing. Like, what's super disappointing is even the Bitcoin maxis don't have it right. Like even the fucking Bitcoin maxis, he would be like, you know what, Bitcoin maxis, you're meant to be my motherfucking disciples. You have fucking betrayed me. You're all Judas. Like
but it's hard, man, though, because it's fine to do that in isolation, but as soon as you got to interface to the real world, it's that point there. That's where it gets really hard. So I've got
fuck the real world. Fuck the Matrix. We need. You know what? We need Satoshi. We need Satoshi to come back. We need Satoshi to come back and be like, hashtag Richard Hart was right. That is the solution to all of this fucking nonsense. For real. Like, can you fucking imagine? Can you fucking imagine? Richard would be like, bro, I'm sorry for calling you like a weak bitch that abandoned the industry. I've been holding the fort. I've been holding the castle strong for you while you've been away. We need to go there.
All the shit that's been flung in this last 6 months to a year, that is going to be the stuff that forges this, not just the Hex community, but the whole crypto community. It'll be the thing that forges them and binds them together moving forward in the way they do things. The biggest one was Tornado Cash, because sure as shit, every team that's building something now will make sure that they can't suffer that same fate. So you'll pivot, and that's effectively what will drive this space forward. Is every time you get a roadblock, you go, okay, all right, we've got to build around that this way. So that's going to come with time. We're just going to keep getting shit chucked at us until we can build these blocks on. What we've got to hope is we just don't give up too much in the meantime. And that's another good thing that'll come out of all of this is we did give up too much on the centralized side this time around, all in the name of chasing yield. That's all it was all about, is everyone wanted yield off their coins and stuff, and the way they were doing it was sending it to these jokers. So, so if we've learned two things from this whole friggin' debacle is centralized parties are no good. We've got to cut them out as much as we can and simplify the interactions we have on those ends. So simple on and off ramps, that's all you need. And then, and if we can make DeFi more robust where there's no chokeholds on anything, that'd be a big win. If you can get rid of the MEV bot issue. So that's because that's the bit where we're getting censored at the moment. So figure out our way around that and fight the next battle when that comes along.
Yeah, shit, yeah.
Until they so in the US they've got the whole code is free speech thing. The question is for people in the rest of the world, do we have similar protections in relation to code?
This is sad to say, but I honestly don't know how we're impacted in our part of the world with that. I don't know what sort of protections we have, and that's probably something would be time well spent on.
And I guess that's why I was just going to say that's why decentralized networks are important. So,
so we don't have that drilled into us but in the US. That's obviously forms a big part of your education, your understanding of the formation of your nation. Whereas we don't have that any of those sort of principles drilled into us as we're going through our schooling. So, yeah, that's probably worth understanding, I think, given the space we're in.
I forget which Bitcoiner said it, but they're basically saying with most of these things, we start off the nice way, and then it gets pushed increasingly underground. So if it gets found that the fact that the ledger is public is getting like abused by governments or law enforcement or whatever like that, it's like, okay, next iteration, it won't be like, it'll be Monero style shit. Like, so it's like, they've basically got a choice. Like, so at each fork in the road, they get the choice. It's like, you guys can crack down on this in its current form. It's actually going to get worse for you. So they get punished at every level. So an example is Tornado Cash. They had an ability built into it where you could still prove that the transaction you did was you. So effectively the ability to disclose information when you want to. So if you needed to show that you actually were the one who did from that address to that address, you could actually cryptographically prove that that was true. So i.e. you've got privacy from prying eyes, but you've got the ability to disclose to authorities or whoever should legitimately be able to see your shit if you even believe that those authorities are legitimate. Then the next version of that will be like, okay, fuck you. We won't even bother including that shit where there's the ability to fucking do that. Fuck you. Like you guys jailed someone. Like, you have shown yourselves now to be unethical, jailing a developer who was involved in that process, even though he made it the way that allows you to disclose. So guess what? Next time you guys aren't playing nice. Next time we're not playing nice. Fuck you.
That's the hypocrisy of this whole situation with what's happened with SBF and this developer. Like, one guy's
there's
locked
that
up.
too. There's that too.
So one guy's locked up, and all he's done is written code. Allegedly, that code was used for money laundering. Then you've got this guy over here, which did money laundering, and you can see it all, and he's off in the Bahamas. Bitfinesse, I'd take your point, mate. I guess I don't know whether that's just we see it all on movies and TV. It's always about freedom of speech and you protect your rights and things like, which I think is I'm not trying to knock it. I think it's good that you guys have that. I really appreciate that. But we don't have that. It's just not as talked about, I don't think, in Australia. Well, this last couple of years has obviously brought it up a little bit more, but we don't ask anyone about our constitution. No one would have a frigging clue.
Another benefit of this FTX is it is going to force regulators to act globally, around the globe, regulate. So there will be no more of this deliberate lack of regulation for them to keep their door, for them to keep the widest possible opportunities for them to fuck our industry. That is no longer going to be acceptable. There will be demands from all angles, like from their own, from within the government and from the people, that regulation is created, and that's another benefit to our industry. They're not going to get away with this shit anymore, where they can be like this Gary Gensler shit, where he's like, the laws are clear. The laws are clear. No, they're fucking not. They're not clear at all. Give us some fucking guidelines, you fucking idiot. Like, it's ridiculous. So I think that's another advantage.
At the moment, it suits them not to.
Exactly. Oh, it's a deliberate tactic for sure.
Yeah.
So this is going to force their hand, though. They're going to have. They are going to have to give. They're going to have to give more guidance, and they're going to have to get involved. So I'm in the camp. You know how there are a lot of people that are like, oh yeah, this idea of like we can do whatever the fuck we want, but eventually we kind of have to negotiate with regulators and shit. Fuck that. Like, if you build crypto correctly, you do not have to ask for fucking permission from anyone. And this idea that it's like, oh, we do need to kind of like, we need to get this like balance of like keeping regulators happy while also like being, no, I'm of the opinion that we don't need to do that. If it's done right, we can just do whatever the fuck we want. That's the cypherpunk way. Reread the cypherpunk manifesto every fucking 2 months at least.
It's been settled. SBF sycophant to the regulators.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that was so that's another piece of good news. Fuck, I've been firing off so much good news from this FTX thing. The fact that he was so like pro regulation and then got shown to be a fucking scammer is also another great thing that's come out of this. It's like the dude who was like meeting with Gensler, fucking giving funds to politicians, like effectively like the poster boy for doing it the right way, did it the fucking wrong way. Like, so yeah, there's many benefits that come out of this. The only one that pisses me off is, aside from the Hex price going down, there's two. The Hex price going down and the fact that fuckwit didn't buy a Lambo. That those are the two things that annoy me.
That bothers you?
It bothers me. It bothers me, man.
Well, but he made up for it, man. They brought 19 houses.
No, see, real estate doesn't real estate is not like cars, man. I want to see Lambos. Like yeah. Allegedly became real estate moguls with everyone else's money. Doesn't that infuriate you guys? Doesn't that so much of this makes me furious, as in makes me want to fucking like bring fury. it's
where do you direct the fury? Like, and this is a game that's been going on for centuries, man. So this is nothing new. We're just probably we're definitely more in tune with it, more aware with what's going on. And you always hear about corruption and backhanders and all that. I think we're seeing it play out a lot more visibly now, and it's now getting like that citizen journalism thing is bringing a lot of it more to light if you're in the right place and you're listening to it.
Oh, that's actually a really interesting point, because the amount of like corruption and like Cantillon effect and all of that stuff is orders of magnitude higher with people that are not FTX. So politicians and those sorts of people who do it orders of magnitude higher. I'm aware of it. I speak about it. I try to publicize it. And I've never been this furious with their shit, even though it's way, way worse. And you making that comment made me quickly think about it. I'm like, why am I so much more angry and upset about this? And I think it's two things. Primarily because they leveraged my fucking industry that I'm passionate about to do this particular one. This FTX thing was like so not only did they leverage my industry to do it, but they also gave it a bad fucking reputation and made us take multiple steps backwards. And obviously to a minor extent, but obviously has to be admitted, it fucked with my paper. Like it fucked with my personal financial situation more directly than any of these other fuckwits doing their fucking piss taking the entire world and stealing from literally every person in the entire globe. So a little bit of it is selfish, but I promise you the majority of my distaste is the fact that it's like this has involved and damaged the industry that I care about the most to do a legacy fraud, right? It's another example where they have repackaged a fucking existing scam, but put a crypto banner on it and fucked everyone over. And we do is we get left to pick up the fucking pieces.
Yeah, but what's worse is it's labeled as a crypto thing.
Yes. The damage to our industry is also disgusting because it's wrong.
That's right. Yeah, so it'll all get all this nefarious shit that's been going on. They'll be misdirecting the blame and the cause of it all to it's a crypto thing.
Absolutely,
and it wasn't, because they all had their little fucking hands in the cookie jar.
Fortunately, we do have voices out there, including ours and some more well-known popular voices like Eric Voorhees and others who are out there who are saying, hey, no, like, and actually surprisingly, some banks and fucking government position people are like, yo, this was not a failing of crypto. This was a failing of the centralized aspects of crypto. So which is shocking to me. This is something that actually does give me some hope, because I've been quite negative on this stream, or at least quite like rageful and ranty. But something that gives me hope about the American government is every now and then you see some motherfucker, typically it's in Texas, like a politician that is just out there where I'm like, preach, brother. Like this guy's speaking my motherfucking language. Maybe this government is still like decentralized enough to not be complete. Like people can make conspiracy theories that, like they're pandering to a voter base, or they're controlled opposition, or like whatever the fuck. Like you can have all these kind of like double, triple cross fucking narratives, spy versus spy shit. You can always come up with something where you say, hey, don't trust this sort of shit. But it is still a fucking congressman or a senator that is speaking saying what I would say if I was in that position. And for me, that's enough in that situation.
There's definitely still a lot of cronyism, and until, I don't know, is a new wave of people coming through that can change that, or do we just replace those old cronies with another slightly younger set of cronies? There's obviously a lot of people that have got vested interests, and people that come from that world and are in that space they're not going to want to change anything because they've got it by the balls at the moment. But what's happened over the globe the last couple of years, it's rattled a lot of people and if they haven't opened their eyes yet, I think it's only a matter of time till they have their eyes sort of pushed open and sticks stuck in there, so they have to see. Maybe Clockwork Orange, that shit. Just like pulls their fucking eyes open. So maybe we've got to reach that point before like people are slapped around enough, and maybe you get that groundswell where it's like, do they rise up? I mean, we're seeing in Brazil, man. I'm not. This is the funny thing. You're not seeing much coverage of this, but I think it's Brazil, isn't it, where everyone's bloody protesting on the streets and in large numbers, like huge numbers.
Yeah, I saw drone footage where they had a Brazil flag that was like multiple city blocks large, and everyone is dressed in fucking green and yellow, and it is just like you would not believe that just filled an entire everything. It's like, as far as the eye can see people.
In all of my years, I haven't seen this level of public outrage and demonstration in multiple countries at this level. This is the first time I've seen it. So
Agreed.
In Sri Lanka, they're screwed over there. They can't even afford to bloody eat. So the public outrage from all of this, it's got to be tipping the scales on a cosmic level somehow.
People say like Australians are chill as fuck, like Aussies don't give a fuck, like as in i.e. in terms of like protesting shit, that it would be like least likely to occur in Australia, and the amount of protests that even happen around in Australian capital cities has been unprecedented as well.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. So I think we're seeing the cracks start to show. Long way to go, but yeah, hopefully that's the bright side of all of this shit that's happened. Hopefully this is what it's leading to. We're seeing a few of the cracks appear.
There was, so like, speaking of cracks, there was some analogy that I heard that was like something about how, like, if you think of like lies and deception and all of this deceit shit as being darkness, and the truth is the light, it only takes like one small crack before the light starts to come in.
Yeah.
And so it's like this idea that you can't ever really fight against the truth for any significant amount of time, right? Good and truth will always triumph because it's so pervasive that it only needs that you. So for evil and lies and shit to triumph, they have to have 100% control, 100% accuracy, no fuck ups. As soon as there's like 1% of fuck up, the light and the truth and shit floods in, and then you end up with the team that's supposed to win. Sort of thing. I mean, like let's hope that's the case.
Did you see the private messages, mate? Just have a quick look in there.
Because have we lost our host? Have we lost our hopes?
I think 40.
Oh shit! Okay. I can try and do that.
I don't know whether you can let him in or not. So we're trying to get.
I'm not sure if I can I might need to leave to try and re-log.
You can try. I don't know. Might take the whole thing down, but have a go. Oh yeah. So we've got Bluey's knocking on the back door, trying to get in. So we'll see if we can bring him in. While you're doing that, let's go. The chat's been whizzing by. I haven't really been.
Oh yeah. Go and like address or like highlight some comments while I try and do this.
I can't even bring up comments and stuff. I need to get a spanner on this so I can.
My fake ADHD prevents me from actually multitasking. I love like whenever anyone just like criticizes me about any shit, I'm just like that's my whatever. Like it's just whatever. My OCD or my ADHD or my social anxiety or whatever. Not to discount the realness of those issues. I just like to pretend I have them, locally, temporary issue. So
we've there's definitely a lot of passionate people in the chat. I think we're all sort of coming at this from the similar sort of angles, even though we're all spread out far and wide across the globe. I think we all sort of feel what's been taking place, and we've all we're all here for the same reasons. So there's obviously been a fair bit of chatter in there about the Howey Test and things like that. If you haven't watched it, there was a YouTube video. I'd have to go and dig it up. There was one person who went and got a legal opinion on Hex. This was done some time ago, I think. And forgive me for not knowing who actually posted this or who done the work, but they actually had a document prepared by lawyers and they read it out on a YouTube video and went through the opinion. And although some of the takes on the opinion were probably a little bit off, and we'd all get our heckles up listening to it because we know the product a little bit more intimately. The end result was there was one leg that Hex would fail the Howey test on, and the others were questionable. Like there was a bit of you could argue either way.
You mean pass? Like because the pass is bad, the fails are good. Like you want to fail.
Correct. Yeah, you want to fail. Yeah, so they failed one leg, which is all you need to do. You
only need to fail one.
Yeah, so if you pass all four, that's not good. So there was one that seemed to be quite an obvious one. So yeah, I can see a lot of chatter about that. So go and check out
Richard
that
make
video.
That it fails all of them though? Didn't he deliberately?
I believe it does. But then you can always everything's pretty. Depending on how good your lawyer is, you can argue anything, really, can't you? So,
that's the unfortunate truth. Is that a good lawyer?
Well, that's how you get things overturned. That's how you get precedents set and things changed. Is someone comes up with a good enough reason for it a good enough argument for it. So, yeah, I think you could. There's a lot of these things you could put your hand on your heart and very honestly say, "Oh, it fails it." But yeah, but if you do want if you're sitting here wondering what's going on and you want more information from reliable source, that is a lawyer, go find that and check it out. That might be of interest. And look, we all know that. Oh, you should know. If you don't know, this is worth knowing. Before Hex was actually launched, this was all. It's been reviewed. Like, you don't do something like this and just send it out there without getting it all checked out. So there was legal opinions done.
Letter of intent or whatever. Letters of
there was legal opinions done, whether it was by Richard or whoever back in the day. So this has been around for a long time. You would understand that when someone comes out with as much confidence as Richard has on this, you're speaking from a place of knowledge. You're not winging it. So yeah, that's why you can come out and talk confidently about these sorts of things. So a lot of shit going on in the community that will all get addressed in good time, I think.
I've managed to log into this other account where I've got admin controls, but it's just whether I can. Oh yeah, here we go. So that's that. Enter studio. So there might end up being two of me. Is it going to become two of me if I come in through this other way as well? Yeah, we're about to find out. We're about to break the fucking matrix. So, and then once this logs, once this logs in, I should be able to.
This will be proof of the multiverse.
Yeah, there's two of me. Wait, check this out. This
I've done a little bit of feedback. Then it sounded cool.
Did you notice? Like, see how on this one I'm Hex Tadger RH Maxi, and then on this one I was Hex Maxi. I did that so that I would know like which one is in control. Bluey, welcome to the stream.
Hey boys, breaking the matrix. Breaking the matrix through the use of tabs. Now we can't hear you, Tangent. You just went mute.
Sorry, it took me so long. I had to find old emails where I had the logins for this thing.
And you were on a bit of a roll. That message was there for a little while. You were on a bit of a roll. I didn't want to interrupt your flow.
Yeah. Fired up, Tangent. Nice one.
I've been ranting hard, man.
I was listening to the last 20 minutes. Yeah, nice one. So, how's it been? You guys, anything you haven't talked about?
Well, I mean, we've covered a bit of ground tonight. So sorry, there was someone said something in chat that I just wanted to go back over. So Spike, what did you started a sentence there? The Hex Trust was cleared A. Was there more you wanted to add to that?
That's just the thing that the DS guys did.
Hey? Yeah.
So they would have got legal opinions.
Yeah, they would have got. They would have got legal opinions for sure.
But also, just if they're registered as a security. So
the trust would so their trust.
Yeah, exactly. The trust would be registered. Would it be registered as a security? No.
Not. Oh. I guess maybe. I don't know how it's done over that way.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, with trust it's a little bit different. Trusts are
maybe it comes under another kind of financial.
Yeah, trusts are tricky little things.
Yeah, but they would have had to have gone through all of that.
Well, they would have. Anyway. They would have probably had an opinion on Hex if that's going to be one of the core interfaces with the trust. They probably would have had that assessed, I would have imagined.
Yeah.
We're just guessing here, though. But it sounded like Spike had a bit of info there, so I wanted to.
And they obviously have lawyers for permission to.
Did you talk about that? You talk about that HSI that went for like about 17% of its value.
Yeah. So it was 20 bill Hedron. You said
22.5 billion Hedron. Yeah, and it was it was like nearly 10 million Hex.
I'm just trying to find. I got sent a DM today, and it was really a bluey question. Let me just.
You know, and I was thinking about it because this whale, right? What they did was they created this massive hex stake, and they chucked it in, and they ended up picking it up for like way cheaper. So in the end, what they're actually doing is getting a massive position in ICOSA, and then just buying back their stake. So they're just getting a huge position in ICOSA for free.
So sorry. So someone purchased that stake
Well,
at a discount.
They made the HSI and they sold it to the ICOSA contract. So they got a whole ton of ICOSA. Like I think they had like a huge amount of ICOSA stake, like 350,000 ICOSA or something like that. And then they ended up, I mean, maybe they bought back their own. Look, I don't know if it was their own. Maybe it was someone else's. But you'd think that they'd be pretty onto trying to get back their own 10 million kind of thing hex. So maybe it's just that they got a massive position in ICOSA and ended up burning a bunch of hedron to do that. That's how they're looking at it. Because you kind of, the thing is with a 10 million HSI, like you can't just go and, I mean, maybe you can, but I would imagine it's pretty hard to just go and sell that. So it's pretty
or if you picked it up at an 87% discount, I'm pretty sure you could sell it and still make a decent profit.
Yeah, they can.
Your options are you keep the HSI and mint shit tons of hedron of it, or you sell it into ICOSA and then hold the ICOSA, or you sell it, you put it into the contract.
Well, that's the thing.
And then slowly sell it into other shit. You could, so you could go into ICOSA and then just slowly sell into Hex and Hedron and like so without crashing markets. Basically,
but
just keep building your stack in everything else from that massive, because you've effectively got like what is it like? As in you've got a 5x gain, like you've got over 5x insta 5x over that, and then how much you push markets around. Like Jackson said, it'd be pretty difficult to, once you're that far ahead, it's pretty difficult to fuck that up, right? You could almost rook here and just market sell shit and still be ahead.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. But yeah, it's a kind of different, like I was looking through their wallet and their addresses, and like they were in Hex from the start. They were like, DCAing, all of those days when there was amazing things, doing like 7 ETH, 10 ETH into the AA, like just DCAing and like, just a beautiful.
Isn't there a Hex rap song? Isn't there a Hex rap song that's like, got my Hex from the fucking start?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, there would have been a few good million Hex for 1 ETH days in that DCAing then.
Yeah.
So you're dropping an ETH in there.
If only I could go back in time and go all in.
Well, funny you say that because.
Are you saying they're buying now?
Yeah. Not at those prices, but they're pretty low. Hey, what's it today?
I was tempted on a stream when someone was like, I wish I could, these OGs, like, we're just exit liquidity for the OGs or whatever the narrative is. I felt like saying, go on the ETH chain. Go on the ETH chain. You've got the prices that were like the prices that you wish you could have had Hex for back at the very start. But obviously it's a different animal, so you can't make that comparison. But in a way, it is true. It's all relative, right?
I haven't been paying attention to those forks. How are they going? They getting
everything's wrecked, man. Like as in,
really?
No. I mean, no worse than everything else. I'm just saying all of crypto is fucking wrecked.
Yeah. I think all of everything's pretty fucked up at the moment, to be honest. I was looking just at traditional charts, and they're being decimated.
I'll tell you something that I think is quite positive, right? There's a limited amount of time before people realize that you can still make more money in crypto than you can in legacy. So just as an example, if you get a healthy LP, like if you get an LP on a low fee chain where there's high volume to liquidity ratio, and so it can be literally any chain except Ethereum, because you need to be able to like move the LP around without getting completely fucked by fees. You can make more money in terms of yield, and we're talking real yield. This is not fake ass yield. This is not like I'm Sam Bankman-Fried. I'm gonna print fucking FTT tokens out of thin air and just give them to you, or like I'm Pancake Swap. I'm gonna fucking give you these things. This is real yield, because there are people who are trading who are willing to pay that small fee in for the ability to trade on a DEX, and that is where the yield is coming from. The yield is coming from a real source of people really willing to pay for a service, which is the service you're providing is providing the liquidity, right? So this is real yield, none of this farming bullshit. And that shit still dwarfs anything that you can do in legacy. And so it's only a matter of time where people are like, oh, even though it's a bear market and I'm scared because I'm a little bitch, over here, I can make like 1% a day, and that is unheard of, and the capital will come back. Like, so that's something I think is quite bullish for crypto, is we still do have for real higher yields than what would be fantasy in legacy, even in the depths of this bear market. And in some ways, sideways markets benefit. If you're a liquidity provider, you almost want it to be sideways so it doesn't move out of your range. So if you've got,
as you have volume,
exactly. You just want volume. You don't necessarily want directionality in the price. Like you just want it to be. And let's be honest, when the price is grinding sideways, that is the most annoying shit ever. Like that's the worst, is when price is just going sideways. But that's the best for liquidity providers. So you can psychologically kind of like mind fuck yourself. You just gaslight yourself into loving the bear market by
just
being an LP.
Fees. Just watch those fees.
And then you just watch those fees. And then you can take those fees above whatever the fuck you want. Obviously, it's going to be Hex. But if you're not cool, if you're not one of the cool kids, then it might be something different. But whatever you want, you can be uncool and buy something that's not Hex. Or compound it back into the LP, whatever you want to do.
Dude, that took longer than I thought it would. And in the meantime, I'm not
taking the admin account.
No, you're good. No, I had to go do something, as you guys know, and it just took longer than I thought it would. What's going on, Bluey? Sorry, I wasn't here to let you in.
No, it's all good. I woke up.
No, we got him in eventually.
Yeah, he was rattling on the cage for a while. We managed to get him in.
I thought you might be ending when I kind of got on, because
we probably were due to, but you jumped in and so kept going.
Hey, and the beauty is that we don't have to end because
the wake up
boys don't go. Yeah, they haven't woken up yet, and those guys I think stream like way later now because of all the daylight savings changes. They're like another 2 hours away or whatever, so we don't have to worry.
Did Unrec come on?
He
did he make an appearance? Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Yeah. And what about the World Cup? You've been talking about that? Australia plays France. Bit later today.
I don't do sport.
Soccer,
bro. Steph is going down hard. Steph is going down hard.
Is there another World Cup this year?
It's happening right. Yeah. It started.
It's a whole lot of debacle going. It's in Qatar, isn't it?
It's a whole lot of debacle.
This is the one where the app.
Qatar?
This is the one where the app like spies on you. This is the one where if you download the app, it like. So guys. Actually, I shouldn't be laughing. This is serious. Privacy experts have warned that the app that they force you to download if you want to be involved in the fucking cup or whatever, basically has permissions that just like it's worse than Pegasus. Like it's God. They're just they're just like, look. It's God mode for your phone. We own you. We are you. Like that is how bad the permissions are on this fucking app. Like it's fucking terrible. It's like read, write, access, fucking do everything. Just it's It's
like,
bad.
It
It's
can
bad.
change stuff on your phone.
Yeah, like everything, just full access. Just full access.
What was
full
Pegasus?
matrix?
Pegasus is software, I guess, from an Israeli company that is sold to nation states so that they can spy on potential targets.
It was actually, what it actually does is it sets up databases across a whole lot of like institutions within a country. So it's a way for countries were buying it, and they were been buying it since the 70s or something like that. And it was a way to create a database so they could connect all these like the IRS and the I don't know what else in the America, like all the different institutions within America. It can build databases because it could read various different computer languages. But then all these countries bought it, and it had massive like backdoors. Like, and at first they thought it was just one backdoor and then it was realized that no, then maybe there's actually two backdoors and shit. And
no, the Pegasus one was the one that Snowden came out about, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Was that? Yeah, that one was more about getting into mobile.
Well, no, actually, no. It was actually. I don't think Snowden came out with that. There was later. There was another leak.
Yeah, there's I know of two things. So there was one which Snowden came out about, and that was the one.
But it was the Maxwell's. It was Ghislaine Maxwell's dad who was like selling it to countries.
Yeah. So the two scary texts that are out there is the one that basically compromises phones at a whim, like they can Prism. That's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the Pegasus one, or it might be called something else. I can't remember. There was one that actually just basically archives everything, every bit of communication, whether it's email, phones, whatever. Just like a big vacuum, just sucks in data and warehouses all this data, and it's almost like a Minority Report sort of style where all the data gets sucked in, and if 5 years down the track you do something they perceive to be illegal or wrong or whatever, then they can go back and look at all the history. So it's not about getting wiretaps and things like that. Now it's the data's there. We're going to go back in time and interrogate it at our leisure. So pretty scary shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll have to. I'm not sure which one was which.
Yeah, so you can always just go no phone.
It's pretty hard nowadays. It's pretty hard to not have a phone. Like you can, but
or just pull out the old Nokia. What was the number?
Yeah, if you haven't heard me talk about it before, secure folder on your Android. You've got to be running that. Basically gives you a virtual machine on your Android device.
Holy
shit. You can have all your apps in the virtual machine. Basically, you can run, if you wanted to run two telegrams, you could have one in your normal home screen and all that, where all your apps and that are installed, and another one in the secure folder. And they're basically like two separate bits of software. But it basically gives you a whole virtual phone. It's next level. I've been playing around with it a lot. It's awesome.
That's legendary. I remember you mentioning it. I think I just.
Yeah, I got serious about it over the last week or so, and I've been migrating all my apps across and locking them behind the secure folder. And yeah, so, and the reason why I've done it is
that's freaking legendary.
The reason why I've done it is there was a Hexagon that who got pulled over by Australian Border Control, and
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, went through their phone, went through all their messages, everything. So for me, that was
started questioning them about pictures on their phone. Like,
yeah, for me, that was the flipping point. I went, okay, that's bullshit.
That was complete bullshit.
Yeah. So Tin Top said, "How secure is secure folder on a phone manufactured in China?" Mate, if they want to get into your phone, they'll get into your phone. This is about I'm protecting about a particular thing, and that is the bloody
yeah. This is a different threat. This is a different threat vector. This is like
'Cause
overzealous
basically-
authoritarian bullshit.
Yeah,
locally.
like they've changed
Like,
the laws in Australia where if you go in to border, they can ask to get your password and you have to supposedly open it up for them, and then they can just go and
that's
look
a
through
rule.
your bloody
That's
phone.
a rule for all law enforcement. That's a rule for all law enforcement in Australia.
I've been told that's no longer just at the borders. So
and they can change stuff as well. They can edit.
Yo, guys. You know how I'm an expert witness for this cryptocurrency court case thing. I've been having chats with the lawyer about various different stuff, and he said to me, he's like, so this is specifically to WA. He said in WA, there's now several things that you have to hand over. One's your name, date of birth, and address. Like, so if a police officer asks you for your name, date of birth, and address, you have to give that shit. You can't refuse to do it. But also, passwords to log into / unencrypt any device that you're carrying is also now you have to do it. And the other one was there was another one as well. And I was like, what the actual fuck? Financial crimes. This one blew me away. Financial crimes. So you know how normally you can refuse to talk to police officers, as in you kind of pleading the fifth sort of thing. You can be here's my name and birth and don't ask me questions. If the shit is to do with financial crimes, apparently you have to answer their question now in Western Australia. That's what I got told today. And I was like, what the actual fuck?
So if it's a financial crime, what was that?
Sorry, 43, go.
But that doesn't make sense.
I was going to say, tangent, I would say under those circumstances, regardless of what they're telling you, you always have a right to seek legal counsel before you do anything.
I actually said that to him.
In a court of law, it would be a slap on the wrist at worst. They're not going to send you to jail because you want to speak to your lawyer before you speak.
But also,
to
when someone says you have to answer a question, okay, I'll answer it. I don't know, or whatever you want to say.
So 43. I actually said the exact same thing to him. I was like, well, in that situation, how I would play it is I would say, well, I want to speak to my lawyer to ensure that what you're telling me is correct, that I am actually obligated to say these things. He gave me this example of someone that had been in a car accident, right? So dude got in a car accident. Police came to the hospital and so while he's all he's messed up physically and he's also all on morphine drips and shit like that, they said, we're going to take a sample of your blood to do I know this is not a financial crime, but this was the example he gave me as to how hardcore they prosecute you if you try to pull that shit. So this person said, so they said, we're going to take a sample of your blood to see if you're drunk or not. And he said no, I don't consent. And they said, if you don't consent, then we're going to then they can charge you with refusing to submit a sample for analysis, right? In terms of for the DUI. And he said, so he just tried to delay by saying, I want to speak to my lawyer to see what my rights are and whether I need to give you this sample or not, which is galaxy brain shit. Consider if you're doped up on morphine. And
he's been down that road before, hasn't he?
and apparently he got charged. They charged him with they said to him, you've got 10 or 20 minutes to decide whether you're going to allow us to take this sample or not. And if you don't, we're going to charge you with refusal to give a sample, which is a separate charge, which carries some multi-year jail sentence maximum. And so he stuck with it, and eventually it did get thrown out. So he kind of won on the
That's it.
So
look,
but
I think law enforcement are in the business. Law enforcement are in the business of getting people and charging them with stuff. That's what they do.
Manipulating and shit.
They do that for a job. So some of them see it, I guess, some, not all. I'm sure some of them see it as a sport, and it's a game for them. Right. But on your side, it's your liberty at risk. So I would say speaking to a lawyer when you're getting pressured by law enforcement and you feel uneasy, I think that would be a prudent thing to do. Even if they're threatening with A, B, C, D, I would always say speaking to legal counsel under those circumstances would be a smart thing to do.
There is one other way that I've managed to get police to back down in a certain situation where police asked me for my ID when I was the passenger of a vehicle, and I said I don't need to give you my ID because I'm not driving the vehicle, and they said yes you do, and I said no I don't. Like I said, my understanding is that I do not need to give you my ID, and they said yes you do, and I said no I don't, and they said you know what? I've just recognized you. I believe that you are a criminal out on parole, and now by law you must give me your license. I said, lol. I actually said that to them. I said, lol. I said, you are lying. I'm not giving you my idea of you pretending. I said, I'm not out on parole. I know I'm not a criminal out on parole. So I know you're lying to try and force me to give you my ID, right? So there was like about 10 police there because they had all caught up to the vehicle and shit. So they were like, you need to give us your ID. And I said, I'm gonna call a lawyer. I'm gonna call my lawyer, but it was just a friend of mine who is a lawyer, and I'm gonna ask them of whether I need to give you my ID in this situation, and you're gonna wait and shit. And they were like pressuring me to give the ID, and then I said, look, my friend's not answering. It was like the middle of the night. It was like fucking 2 a.m. or something. I said, look, my friend's not answering, understandably, because it's the middle of the night. I am going to assume that what you are telling me is correct, but we've got recording devices in this car as well. Like we've got like dash cams and shit. And if you are lying, I am going to fuck you guys up. Like I am going to like go hardcore. If you guys are lying, they back down. They were like, oh no, look, we thought you were someone else. Like now that because they'd come around to the passenger side of the vehicle, shone like torches in my eyes and shit, like in my face. And they were like, oh, now that we've seen you, we thought you were someone else. And they backed off and they fucked off. So I guess it's an example of how, like, if you stand your ground and you at least tell them that you're going to fucking stand up for your rights and shit, that they're more likely to back down. And I wasn't doing anything like hard. I wasn't being rude or anything. I was just standing my ground.
I think that's what it is. Most of it's just taking advantage of people's lack of knowledge of what they do and do not have to do. So what you're telling us now, in our great state, we have to give everyone our ID now, do we?
Also, no, the other thing is they are all wearing body cams and shit. Like they're all wearing body cams. So when I said that to them, where I was like, I am going to trust that you are telling me the truth. But if you are not, you are going to be fucked. That's all on all of their body cams. And they can't be like, oh, all our body cams like failed and got deleted and shit. So when they know that they're like, I never actually went and looked up whether they were lying or not. But in that moment, then you are pretty confident that they have to fucking abide by the law, like that they have to be telling.
Bro, it's like a poker game, like calling each other's bluffs.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
It's,
I mean, I was partly bluffing when I was like pretending I've got like a lawyer on retainer, but it was just a mate, and they were fucking obviously bluffing when they were like, "You need to give us your ID," but clearly didn't.
It's crazy.
What's the court case that you're an expert witness? Can you talk about that?
Did I not tell you about that? So I'm an expert witness in a court case, and so because it's still ongoing, it was meant to be the week before last, then it was meant to be last week, now it's this week, and there's heaps of I'm not really allowed to talk about it, but I guess I can say that there's an interpreter involved so one of the parties in the case requires an interpreter, and that causes like these mad delays because obviously everything needs to go through an interpreter during the process while that person's on the stand. So I'm effectively explaining to the jury and the judge what like I get asked questions about cryptocurrencies and I just answer those honestly. So I've been engaged by the defense counsel, but the prosecution obviously are allowed to cross-examine me and ask me questions. And like obviously once the case is over, I'll be able to explain everything about it, like talk about all the details. But for now, that's really, I think that's all.
Does that put you in a position of risk if you unknowingly give an incorrect answer? Like if it's a technical question and you don't.
So you can say I don't know. You're allowed to say I don't know, or I don't know the answer to that question.
As an expert witness, it is still like opinion, right? Like as in it's in your experience as an expert. So you have to justify to the court your like why you are an expert. And obviously in cryptocurrency it's quite difficult because there's no like there are if it was anything else, right? Like so say you needed a medical expert or you needed an expert on various things. In most industries and that you would just go and get someone who's like highly qualified, PhD or that sort of thing. But in crypto, there's no like formal, well, at least not when I started, there's no formal education, that sort of thing. So really they're relying on like the amount of time I'm in the industry and other various things that I can point to. I actually tweeted out saying, look, I'm part of this case and my ability to prove that I'm an expert is not as solid as it would be with other experts. So it would help me out if people could speak to their opinion, like genuine opinions about my knowledge and wisdom and experience in the industry. And I said, honesty and clean language, please. And literally like 90% of the replies were like, you're a fucking legend, cunt. And like, Hex is the fucking bomb. Like it was all like, most replies were either shilling Hex or swearing. I don't know whether people thought I was joking or whether they just didn't read the shit. I was just like, fuck, I can't use any of this.
I can't believe you thought you were going to get a legitimate response on Twitter.
Well, do you know why? Do you know why I thought I would actually be able to get responses? Because after my debate with Richard Hart, where I almost expected to be exiled out of the community, I thought this could be my last day as a Hexican. I might get my ass curb stomped, like for sort of like stepping up, like to be perceived to be kind of like even like questioning the king or coming up with kind of like debate topics that are anything that are outside of that thing. And the amount of positive responses that I got after that debate was ridiculous. It was so crazy. So many people were sending me so many messages that were positive in DMs and publicly, comments on my YouTube videos, tweets, like responses to tweets and things like that, where everyone was like, you handled that so well. So, like a lot of people even said that in their perception, I won the debate. Like there were and these were like diehard Hexicans that were sending me so much positivity. I was like, if I can kind of get those sorts of the sorts of things that people were saying to me in response to that debate, like you're more knowledgeable than I ever realized. You raise a lot of like really interesting points. Like you handled that so diplomatically. Just
so Tangent,
the compliments I got were fucking incredible. Yeah. But then when I needed them for this court case, it was just
how did the defense find you? Like, how do they choose you to be an expert?
So basically, a friend of mine who's currently engaging this criminal attorney for a different matter, which I won't go into. Okay,
so it's just word of mouth kind of thing.
This attorney asked him and said, I'm having a problem with this case. It would really help me to have someone who can explain crypto, because I think the prosecution had their witness, which was like a police officer who claimed to know that they knew something about cryptocurrency because they're like in a cybercrime unit or whatever. And this person said, look, the person who we all know within our social circles as like the Bitcoin guy, like the guy who knows about crypto, is this particular guy. I'll give you his number. You can call him up. And when that lawyer called me up, I said, look, I don't know whether I'm going to be able to kind of like prove that I'm an expert, but here's my shit. I've been in the industry since here. No. I just said if I had to mount a case for me being an expert in crypto, here is what the dot point list of things that I would say to someone to try and like prove my experience or wisdom within the industry. And he was like, that's more than enough. Like he was like, that's fine. That's heaps. Right. So yeah, we're basically,
we're going to talk about it. Just leave it at that because you don't want to talk.
Guys, I don't think I've said
anything that's outside of what's allowed.
Hang on, Jexa. Hang on a second.
I actually specifically asked him.
Hey, Tangent.
Like, am I allowed to talk about this publicly?
Hey, Tangent, Bluey. Do you guys want to keep talking?
Are we treading on anyone else's shit? Like, as in?
No, go for it, mate. I'm just getting a little bit hungry.
In terms of like stream timing stuff.
Yeah, me too.
You guys are getting hungry. We can keep going. There's no time limit on what we need to do right now, so it's your call. But Jexa, you said you need to head off. Bluey, you sound like you need to eat. I haven't eaten either.
I also have been snacking only.
So unless you guys want to just give your last words before we wind it up.
Well, all I was about to say was I specifically asked him, I was like, what am I allowed to and not allowed to say? And he said, you're allowed to say that you're involved in this trial, but just not to give out details about the trial until after it's over. So I don't think I've broken any like rules here tonight.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. Oh, good.
We can do final words. Who wants to go?
Oh, I haven't really got anything inspirational to say now. I've been talking for an hour, 2.5 hours, so I don't really have too much more that I haven't already said. But yeah, don't be a bear market bitch. Harden up.
That's enough. Harden the fuck up.
Louis.
Yeah, I don't have any kind of last words or anything. I don't know. Just all good. Keep going, guys. Whatever. Do your thing.
All right, I'm taking everyone else's last words then, because I've got two things. I've got two things I want to say. One, I know I got quite ranty in this stream. I want to be clear that anything that I said about where I'm gonna like go on the dark web to do karmic payback on any person or entity is a joke. Seriously, I would never do something like that because I don't want the I don't you know what I mean? Like I'm not going to do some Judge Dredd shit where I'm like the judge, jury, and executioner on someone else's shit. I believe like the universe has balance, and that if they need a karmic payback, that's coming to them without me personally facilitating it, right? And the other thing that I'll say is that, and I hope that no one finds this offensive in terms of like disrespecting people who have like made great sacrifices in the past, but I genuinely hope that future generations look back on what we have endured and the battles that we have fought digitally, psychologically, etc. And they look back on our shit the way that we look back at people who have fought in actual legitimate wars and given their lives to fight for things that are fucking important, like freedom. So yeah, I genuinely hope that people in the future do look back on us as being like, wow, that group of people really did fight selflessly for the things that matter the most and have made our lives better in the process.
It was very nice, mate. Statement. Very nice. All right, guys. Big shout out to everyone in the chat. Click the like button. We're still on Discourse Syndicate until they kick us off. for not minding our P's and Q's.
P's and Q's. We gave it a good shake tonight.
So
did we break any rules? I didn't. Oh yeah, I'm like Dr. House. I fucking throw the rule book out the window every time.
That's it,
You
man.
know
Look,
what,
I don't think we look. We always throw in our disclaimers and caveats because we don't know shit. I know that I don't know shit, and I like to share my not knowing of shit with everyone, so that you guys know I don't know shit. And on that note, let's wind it up. We'll see you next time, guys.
Peace out.
Catches.
Cheers.